Both of these also wicket keepers and USA teammates.
Changing the field here as long on gets shifted into position. So adding the extra fielder in the deep. We haven't seen real intent from Patel yet. But Van Tol wanting that change. Over the infield. Yes, the outside edge, but valuable runs for Smith Patel.
There you go. You get your first boundary of the innings. Smith Patel skipping down the pitch, taking a mighty hack at it, and that advantaged him as it flew over third.
How good was Smith Patel this minor league season, Nate? Just scoring quick 80s. And again, that's not what you expect from Smith Patel. When you think about his career in minor league cricket, you think more about the fact that he would be closer to the 100 to 120 strike rate and has really revolutionized that.
Well, he's certainly capable of that, and in the Dallas region, you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to go at 125 plus. There's a lot of runs there.
Close of over number 2, a boundary and a wicket. It's 10 for 1. Yeah, you talk about Smith Patel playing down there in the Central. Would have started with the Manhattan Yorkers when he first got here. Remember, scored 99 in his very first minor league cricket match, and since then, everyone's kind of held him in really high regard. This year, just compare it to his 2024 season, where his strike rate was at 96, and his average was at 62, yes, in just 2 innings, but through 8 matches, he had an average of 52 at a strike rate of 135.
Phenomenal. Just phenomenal. And both of these guys, exceptional behind the stumps. When they take the gloves, we saw Smith Patel key in that super over, that really dramatic super over toward at the very end of the season, at the end of the regular season in minor league cricket, with the run out on the very last ball. Took him to that super over, gave him a prayer, gave him a chance to get into the playoffs.
Manik Patel, first year with the Lightning this season, nearly willed his team into those playoffs you spoke of through his 10 innings at a strike rate of 144, but he almost cooled down later off in the year. He started in such form coming off of a major league. We felt if he stays there, the Lightning may never lose again. Beats Christopher Van Tol. Worked off his hip for 4.
And there you see it. Mononk, part of the reason why it's so tough to anticipate what the total's going to be here, his skills. We've seen him at Church Street when everybody else is struggling, and he's just thriving. When he's in form, there's runs on every wicket.
And this has been the variable about the surface. We were anticipating where is the bounce going to come from and which side is going to have a little bit of movement. That one really jumped on Mononk there.
Yes, it did, and you can bet the Lightning fast bowlers are paying close attention right now as well. Got such good teams here.
Like you said, runs on any wickets. And that might be the first maximum of the day and confirmation of it being such.
10 in the first 2 and 10 already off the first 4 balls here in the third over as Mononk Patel picks up the pace. Well played. Mononk's so good in the power play at playing it into areas that are safe. He always seems to have multiple things he can do with each ball.
He's really in the form of his life, Mononk Patel, and it's coming off of a period where you didn't know if you could buy a run in international cricket. And Patel struck on the glove extra pace and bounce. And immediately, Patel in a bit of pain.
Yeah, that one came up really, really quickly on him from a length.
And you would hate to see Monarch have to come off because of it. You talk about where he was a year ago in October, that Nepal series that we had on home soil, those ODIs that followed, could not buy a run. Then had the 1/2 century, and it hasn't looked back. Big shout, big shout. Probably high. Abdul Amir responds well after conceding 11 runs. It's 21 for 1.
I'm going to take a look at a replay right here. What do you think, Amon? It does look like it was heading up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely hit high on that front foot, but you could see the movement very early. That to me was the big key, and something to be watchful of is we know the caliber of Abdul Amir, who's played Pakistan under 19, the 33-year-old. And again, with these overcast conditions, while we think that the surface might have something in it for the spinners, I wouldn't be surprised to see more Ghazi Amir before you get to both Malhotra and Ladda, two leggies that can really turn the game around.
Lada in particular has been absolutely prodigious in minor league cricket. The first to reach 100 wickets in the league's history. Does it with the flight.
Fielder. No, put down. That's the captain that was underneath it. And Moning Patel giving a life.
Really should have been taken there. You don't want to give too many chances to either one of these batsmen.
Not where Moning Patel wanted to play it. He was trying to go to the offside, but I just felt that Prince was a bit casual underneath it. Never really felt like he was in a position. I don't think he thought it was going to carry. And then tried to take it so low. It just felt that he was never going to be underneath that ball. Change in fielder. Gunarjit Singh now pushed back. And Patel carves it through the offside. This time it's Smith. A little bit of a lush outfield and run out chance. Eventful 2 balls, Nate, to say the least.
Absolutely. And we saw Kunwarjit Singh come too long on after the drop. Absolutely, he's a stud in the field.
Better length from Ghazi. Again, you look at that surface and you just look at that patch of greenery in the middle. But within that patch of greenery, there's a couple of barren spots, and that feels like where bowlers will be targeting. You see Moning Patel, Smith Patel are consistently in those areas trying to pat it down, and that seems to be where the variability is coming in.
Definitely a little bit tricky. Curious how it will play as the week goes on. We have a lot of games here.
Yeah, that's exciting, isn't it? 2 games here today on this field in particular, and then there's another match happening concurrently, and there'll be 2 of those happening on field number 1. So really exciting stuff, and both these fields have seen minor league cricket matches with full productions, and now here in the Atlanta Open again, getting more and more action. So blessed to have a facility like this to come to. In the gap this time. More intentional, and reaps the reward.
Once again, Manoj Patel is going to find your runs. In fact, that was Smith that time. Oh, it's Monarch. Apologies. Yeah, he's going to find these runs. If they're out there, he will find them.
It just started too far down the leg side. And again, Moning Patel, while you talk about his shots to the covers, he's such a tremendous flicker. And that will close over number 4, 29 for 1.
Yeah, he's got soft hands. Can play any shot. Very hard to formulate a plan against. And I think this Atlanta Lightning team is doing quite well after 4 overs, 29 runs on the board. Big number there is the 1 wicket. Got 2 overs left in the power play. You got to think that Sher here will want to get another one before the power play is finished. Make it easier on themselves heading into those middle overs. Put some pressure on Atlanta in those middle overs that tend to go slow here in the South.
Yeah, especially because you're going to have to deal with Sarjid Lada, so there's plenty of turn available for him. You're also going to have to deal with Sai Mukamala. But this pace bowling trio is special to me. Zaid Alam, someone who didn't feature in minor league cricket this season, but when he was there for the Baltimore Royals last year, was rather terrific, provided himself as an all-rounder, but I think with the ball in hand can extract a little bit of nip on any surface. Still operating in that power play. So Zaid's 2 fielders, no surprise. Your deep backward square, your deep third. Very traditional field with the slip in place. An immediate bounce for Alam. Might not be the tallest of individuals, but definite pace behind that ball.
Come on, I don't know how many times we saw those Baltimore Royals games this season. You're talking about Zaid Alam and how good he was last year. And what a shame it was we didn't get to see him this season in the minor league.
Yeah, you talk about that Royals team and just the pace bowlers that they did have to work with. Adil Bhatia, your Rishi Dhavans, and then your Aryan Batras. And then Rishabh Joshi was on the bench for them this season. So it was a really good depth of pace bowling. And you're just wondering, would Zaid Alam, had he been on the roster, been in a regular 11?
Tough to crack, but he is quite good, and that is an excellent shot there.
Yeah, scurries all the way. Smith Patel's bread and butter playing square of the wicket.
It was those quick hands on display. He gives himself time. Plays this nice and late.
Yeah, just knows that there's pace on offer. And once he can sit back on the back foot, Smith Patel's got all the time in the world. And it's not even that wide. He's really taking it off stump. It just, like you said, speaks to the fast hands of Smith Patel.
Very decisive, picking out the length, giving himself plenty of time.
And that's forced Alam to now push the fielders even further around. So they're further behind square now, point and a cover point in place. And they were also pressed on that 30-yard circle. This is where Smith Patel is such a great reader of the game, why he's consistently in the ODI team. And even with the top order that's filled with your Anjus Khos, your Monak Patel, your Sai Mukamalas, he has basically asserted himself into that top order position in the 50-over format.
Well, there's no question about it. And the 2 of these batters, excellent ODI batters for USA. We talk about how USA plays probably more T20 cricket than just about anywhere else in the world on a regular basis. Comes in handy on a wicket that you're not convinced about to have that kind of ODI experience.
Patel is choosing to be assertive. He's convinced about the way he needs to play.
Convincing indeed. It's so tough to bowl to Monak Patel. He does such a great job of finding the gaps. You can move the field around all you want. He's going to seem to find the gap every time.
Again, he senses pace on the ball, and there isn't as much movement from Alam here. So what he's decided is he's going to use his feet. He's going to create room, and now has forced a more defensive field because you're seeing the field have to be shifted. The slip has come out, long on in place, and third inside the ring. And this is where, again, Monak Patel's game has evolved as well. And where it kind of started was his ability to just pick up singles. He's such an accumulator of runs that even though for a long time he was considered an ODI player, his strike rate was never a concern in terms of would he go at 100. He was always going to go at 100.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ability to change strike, to rotate strike here in the South, very important. We see batters sometimes come from other regions, and the emphasis isn't the same.
Alam's first is an expensive one. Goes for 10. It's 39 for 1.
You saw the 4, and then a single to get off strike, and then a 4 and a single to get off strike. This is exactly what you want to do. You don't want to stay pinned down at the crease too much, too many dot balls building up pressure, especially in the power play when the runs need to flow. Well, if they can't flow at 10 and over, don't lose your wicket.
And this is where the experience of being on these surfaces would be such a beneficial thing for the Atlanta Lightning. Not just Manik Patel, but Emil Alponso, who is a member of the Lightning for the first time this season in minor league cricket. He would have great experience here. So would Ty, JaVale Glenn, when he was a member of the Fort Lauderdale Lions, Mark Dayal, Shamar Springer. These are individuals who have played for the South franchises here in minor league cricket. And I'm so excited to see Shamar Springer after just making his his West Indies debut. Ghazi's on for a third, and that's why. He's just asked enough questions.
He's been quite good. Got the wicket early on for the youngster. Went for 5 that over. For 8 his last over. And starting off here with a beauty.
Unbelievable from Manik Patel. That is a shot of authority.
He makes no mistake here. He's just so effortless, Amon. He's so good at finding the safe places. You could say that was a shot of authority. It was also no consequence. There was really very little risk there, the way he played that.
Gunarjit Singh's in play and doesn't make the mistake. Patel was given 1 life, and he can't cash in any further.
He was dropped on the first ball of the 3rd over, but they switched positions. They put Kunmarjit out there at the long on position, and it really paid off. Very sure-handed, Kunmarjit. As long as you see him running in or to the side, and you got to count on that being caught every time. And it is tricky right now. The sky is the same color as the ball. It's kind of tough to pick out. You can lose it. But that's a huge, huge wicket.
No question. Patel wanted to go much squarer. Leading edge. And Gunarjit Singh underneath it in a hurry. Very stable position. And I'm not even sure he completely read it all the way because he had just overrun it a touch. Backpedaled. But he is safe as houses out there. Number 16 in red and blue. And the Lightning lose their second. But when you're the Atlanta Lightning, you can lose one USA cricketer and gain another. Sai Mukamala, the other under 21, and he might be the US's best T20 bat at the moment. You talk about that international strike rate of 154 at the average of 42, and this was a man who everyone pegged as an ODI cricketer early in his career.
For the longest time, and I think it was just a victim of playing good cricket shots in the East, where you don't get value for your shots. You have a thick, dense outfield grass, not the greatest wickets, and so when you look at his numbers in the East, minor league cricket, he's going about 100, you think, oh, well, he's not really a T20 cricketer, but that is a serious mistake. Played well in Major League Cricket, too, at the start of the season for the Texas Super Kings. So, yeah, when you see the back of Manon, you celebrate for a second, but when you see the front of Sai, you got to tune back in.
You talk about that Major League success, 3 consecutive 30s. And those 30s came in quick time at the Oakland Coliseum. He did talk about how he just wanted to get that conversion. Didn't happen in that Major League season, but now it's the Atlanta Open. And Ghazi is extracting real movement off this surface.
Well, surviving that very first ball. Got to feel happy about that. Sai is so focused, Amon. How good was he in the Super 8 this last week in minor league cricket? He was absolutely sensational for the New Jersey Stallions, particularly in their second game, where he had to rescue the innings after a collapse, a bit of a mini collapse. Went for about a run a ball for 30 or so balls and ended with 84 off of, what, 40-something? 50-something?
That'll have to be re-bowled. Yeah, remember Mukamala finished that with 4 consecutive sixes, and each one bigger than the last. And then you take it to the Super 8 game against the Atlanta Fire. He took Shakib Al Hassan in 1 over for 4-4-0-6-0-4. That's remarkable to take who was once considered the best all-rounder in the world for upwards of 20 runs in the over, or 18 runs in the over.
Absolutely ridiculous. And Shakib was very, very good in the minor league Super 8 as well. Order goes. You look up and down this, and it's anybody's guess who's coming in next. There's so many big name batters.
Mukamala wants a piece, and he's gone all the way over cover. That is a ridiculous stroke.
Well, he is something special, and that over is going to go for 13 runs. And we'll end the power play 52 with a loss of 2, but let's take the time to talk a little bit more about Sai Mukamala and how great he's been. You mentioned that a lot of people pegged him for an ODI batter, for a one-day style batter, finishing last year as basically their best batter, 150-plus strike rate. A lot of people were surprised about that. He has so much focus and so much concentration.
He gets himself into great positions early as well, doesn't he? And he's got all the shots in the book, but his shots over cover have become quite famous through his youth cricket career and then even into now. There were not many people who were surprised to see Mukamala join the USA team at just the 18 years of age and make his ODI debut down at Musa Stadium back in 2022.
That's right. Yeah, not a lot of people were shocked. If you follow cricket around the USA, you know Sai Mukamala is one of the best products that we've had domestically. Of course, you go to Stephen Taylor, and then way, way, way back, you got Bart King. But Sai is on the short list of very best produced batsmen in USA, and he's already performing at the international level. It's not like he's full of potential and we can't wait to see what he does. He's doing it right now.
Remember, wasn't part of that T20 World Cup team in the home soil, and I think that would have stung him a bit, and only made his T20 debut back in March of 2025. And it does feel like he had a chip on his shoulder for a guy who kind of was pushed through the system and everyone knew he was going to get to that next phase. There weren't many people who thought that the T20 was going to be his kind of format, and I think he almost felt personally undone by that.
I think so. I mentioned he looks focused and determined, but he looks focused and determined in a very stern way, in a very I'm going to get the best of you. It looks like every time I look at his face when he's in the middle against the bowler.
He's always been a calm character. You never see the emotions kind of on his sleeve. He's someone who will just stay in the game, not get too up, not get too down, just play each ball as it is. And I think that's why his major league success followed as well, because remember, he would have felt a lot of pressure. 3 years he went. He had to wait 2 years, not playing a single game, watching the likes of Josh Tromp play, watching other under 23s get opportunities, Sanjay Krishnamurthy. And he was the last pick, if you remember, in the draft, in that youth round back in 2023 in Major League Cricket. So all of these things almost compounded and led to him just becoming an absolute diamond in the gap. It was in the air for a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, at the time, when they picked the World Cup squad, and we didn't see Sai in the World Cup squad, not a lot of people were questioning that at the time. Okay, yeah, makes sense. He's young. This isn't necessarily his best format, etc. I don't think a lot of people were clamoring for him to be in the team. When he didn't get those games in Texas, it was like, okay, yeah, my feeling was, all right, he'll come around. He'll get his chance.
Yeah. Yeah, but the question was, when was he going to get that chance? Because you felt he was almost pigeonholed because Milind Kumar, who's been a sensation for the USA ODI team, he was part of that Super Kings squad. You talk about Josh Tromp, who had a 50 in the final game of the 2024 season that eliminated. You thought, how is he not going to be in the 11? Calvin Savage, Ziol Huck, Mohammed Mohsen, there's 5. And then they add Shubham Ranjane, they add Smit Patel. And you're just wondering, where does he fit into that equation? But the Super Kings know what they had in him. There's no question that they would have felt after even just year one that they might have had to steal the entire draft.
Yeah, I got the feeling after or going into the third season that Texas Super Kings were really locked in on the domestic draft, on the domestic players. They have done a good job since that first draft of kind of picking the right guys for their team. And every time they put a guy in, they seem to perform. Sai is not an exception to that at all.
On the pads, just sliding down. Close a 7.56 for 2. And because of that fact, Nate, that Sai is performing wherever he's been given the opportunity, you think about the World Cup coming up in India and Sri Lanka in the early part of 2026. If his name's left off of that squad, we would be turning massive heads, and it would cause a huge uproar in the USA cricket community.
I think we might actually explode if that happens, Aman. I think I that would be a massive shocker, especially after the year that he had. And you have to give Sai credit. He wasn't going to prove himself as a T20 player playing in the East Division in minor league cricket the way that he plays. Partly because of the fact that his team has had to count on him so many times. Wickets falling around him. He's had to be the guy to build the bridge to take the innings long. We don't see a lot of scores of 130, 40, 140, 150, 160 up there in the East. And if you paid attention to his team this season, the amount of times he's navigating an innings and having to go at run a ball, his numbers at the end don't look impressive for a T20 player, but when you put them in the context of that team finished the regular season undefeated as the only team in minor league cricket to finish undefeated. There's nowhere they come even close to that without Sai Mukamala in the middle.
Talk about minor league performers at the highest level. Here's one with the ball. Sarjid Lada, the leading wicket taker in all of minor league cricket, the first man to get to 100 career minor league wickets, is set to start up his Atlanta Open 2025. And already attacking the outside edge.
Yeah, Lada is a problem for batters here in this tournament. He's going to pose a problem for certain. He takes wickets at an alarming clip. And as we mentioned, we talk a lot about minor league together at Mom. We're coming right out of that minor league season. This is basically an all-star tournament as far as American domestic cricketers go. It's the best of the best.
I'm curious to see Sarjit Lada and what he does here in Button Veers. His success mainly has been at Church Street Park, and that's where he's had his most success. And surprisingly, it hasn't always followed him down here to Button Veers in the 2 seasons Baltimore's been in the Southern Division. I think he's in the right length, though, Nate. Are you surprised to see him bowl from this end of the ground? We know he is very particular about his ends.
Well, I think for the leg spinners, maybe not so much. He bowls from the north end of Church Street Park all the time. I'm not that surprised to see a leg spinner bowling from this end right now. I think, but you're right. He is quite particular about the end he bowls.
Well kept. Christopher Van Tull had to put out the one-hand stop, but smart from Lada there, because he had just shifted that first slip fielder into more of a wide gully to get rid of that rundown that we saw Smith and Sai play multiple times.
This is the way you got to play against Sarjid Lada. You got to just rotate strike. You don't want someone pinned down there for Lada to look at ball after ball after ball and formulate a plan and set up that googly.
So I'm trying to rush one in quick. That's typically where he struggles with his line. You can't miss, not to these two. And
Ooh.
that one has just stopped and stayed away. Mukamala was ready to send that to the heavens. Instead, it's just a dot ball. 60 for 2 at the close of 8.
You see the ball turning pretty square there. Now that is dangerous at that fuller length. You don't want to miss short, I think, if you're a spinner today.
I don't even know if it's the worst thing if you miss short, just given how much the ball is turning. Again, Mukamala is so instinctive to get back and across and open himself up to heave that if he were to commit to that shot, it really wouldn't have found anything but long on, given how much it's turned, maybe even a short third off the flashing blade. But fair enough, Nate. Khulle Sher, they hail from that DC region. The Baltimore Royals, obviously the closest minor league franchise there, they go two leggies and let them kind of bowl 8 over straight. Khulle Sher starting with a similar motive as Sahib Malhotra has the ball, the leg spinner. A very tall leg spinners. They're two very different guys bowling that orthodox leg spin.
Yeah, he is quite tall. Brother of Jaskaran Malhotra. You'll know him from the 6'6s.
Fielder holds on. Smith Patel can't quite believe it. It's a short delivery that should have been punished. Instead, it sees the back of Patel.
I think the pace of this one kind of saved Sahib. But there you go. They'll take that any day of the week. Getting rid of Smith Patel makes things a little bit easier. Once again, we mentioned the depth of this batting from the Atlanta Lightning. We'll see who they send out next. But what a job there by Sahib. Quite different than Lada,
to say the least. But he's been effective through ball 1. Gets rid of Smith Patel, and the Atlanta Lightning are 60 for 3. Mark Dayal, new man with the bat. And we'll see what Dayal has. Again, has that CPL experience under his belt as well. He's played a lot in minor league cricket for the Atlanta Lightning.
Oh yeah, played as an all-rounder in minor league cricket. Quite good, both sides.
And this makes sense to me because Dayal is that left-hander in the order. And as you see two leg spinners start to come in with serious turn, now you're giving them the question and forcing them to think, ball is going to turn big back into this fella, and we've got to pack his leg side.
You mentioned the idea that they're dueling leg spinners from either end. We'll see if this changes that tactic. You have 5 balls to figure it out here with Mark Dale on strike, batting from the left-hand side.
I like to play it right-handed, Mark Dale, just for giggles, and he'll pick up 4 runs because of it.
Yeah, going with a reverse sweep shot right off the bat. And it races off the bat.
You understand the rationale in the sense of short third inside the ring, but he didn't get the elevation he was after, and it was really an in-between moment for short third. Might just be better off trying to be a bit more conventional here, they out.
Yeah, raced right past Prince there at the short third position.
You talk about that extra bounce that Malhotra possesses. That's the second time we've seen a little bit of that sponge bounce that just rises and almost sits.
On his ability to change pace here, to speed it up and slow it down, he gives them so many different options. We talk about Lada. He does it with turn and he does it with flight. And in the minor league, we saw him teamed up with Mohamed Mohsen, who also has that ability to speed it up. So they might be two leg spinners, but they're very, very different.
There's your Lada-esque delivery, a touch more flighted.
And I think we'll see that against the righties more so than against Dale.
Malhotra plays most of his minor league cricket in the Central, out for the Dallas franchise, played for the Kings 11 Dallas this past year. Finished there a year in a heartbreaking fashion.
Well, they had so much batting on that team. They just seemed to be a bowler short there a couple of times this season, including their Super 8, where they conceded 20-some runs on that final over to allow the Kingsmen to advance.
Tame end to what started as a very eventful over. Close to 9, 67 for 3. Yeah, Malhotra is a very good bat as well. Nice in that lower order finishing role. And I'll be curious to see how valuable lower order finishers are here at Button Viewers Cricket Complex, because again, the wicket is going to be tricky. So is the guy who comes in looking to hit from ball one, is he really valuable on these types of surfaces?
I think that's where that second number comes in so importantly. It's the wickets. Get the wickets, keep those wickets. Right now, it's kind of 50-50, I think, with a score of 67 and a loss of 3 with 11 overs to go. You don't want to lose many more wickets here heading into the last 15, and then you'll really find out if the finishers will play a big role. That's when you'll find out if they have some wickets in hand.
Look at the field here for the lefty with Lada bowling long off, long on, deep mid wicket, deep backward square, and then you have your sweeper cover as well. Dale's already shown the intent to be innovative. Immediate innovation. It's hit him in the stomach, Sarjid. I'm not sure you're going to give that one out.
Boy, does Lada give some hearty appeals.
Won't be the last one. That's for sure. It was in the air, but there's no fielder pressed in the ring at cover. Again, I think Dayal's got to be very careful with how innovative he gets. Lada almost preys upon folks that try to sweep him.
It's true. It's the only worst decision is to come down the pitch on Lada. That's a really bad idea. How many times do we see somebody stumped? And the ball is turning quite a bit today, but you got the reach of Van Tol back there.
Fielders converge, but we'll just watch. Excellently well placed from Mukamala for 4.
There's that Sai Mukamala placement. Motoring along pretty well right now. 15 off of 10. Dead straight there. Come on.
Safest place to hit is always back over the bowler. Another gap. And they'll come back for 2.
Dale really backing himself here. Sorry. Sai Mukamala really backing himself here with the sweep shot.
And Mukamala is trying to force Lada into awkward lengths. He was touched too full, so he hit him for 4. And now, wouldn't be surprised to see an even shorter delivery. Yes, slightly shorter and wider. And because that Mukamala is able to anticipate and pick his gap, now he's manipulating Sarjid, which is so counter to what we see Lada operate in throughout his minor league career.
You see the ball turning so much, almost buying Mukamala an extra bit of time to place that ball. You said he would go a little shorter. He did. Stood up a little.
Wow, that has risen. And in the halfway point of this first innings, it's 76 for 3. We have a look at the runs coming on the board for the Atlanta Lightning. Only the 3 wickets, and we haven't seen the fall of towers. I think there's been at least consistent runs available.
Yeah, we peaked over 9 a couple of times. Got 3 times we've gone into the double digits with runs and an over. Losing wickets there, it kind of, every few overs. It's anyone's game right now, but you have to be happy, I think, if you're Atlanta Lightning on a pitch that you were unsure of heading in to be at 76 for 3 right now. If you save wickets now for a few more overs, you can expect to pile them on, maybe get a really good total to defend.
Just over. And all the way for 4 runs for Mark Dayal.
Just very easily played there by Dayal. Almost a little too much so, but it got over the fielder. Dayal looks pretty comfortable right now.
Simple this time. Extra bounce, and Dayal can't quite believe what's just happened.
Well, there's that bounce from this end that we've seen a few times. Christopher Van Tol makes no mistake, pockets it easily. Almost took it at the height of the ball. Popping up just so softly. Looks like Javale Glenn will be walking in now.
Be real disappointed, Dayal. He was just getting it going, and again, there's a couple spots in this wicket where the ball is going to rise, and with Malhotra's height and his flashing wrist, there's opportunities for extra revs. It jumps up, and you can see him immediately say, what can I do? It's turned back, it's jumped on him, and it's too good for any batter.
That did jump up there quite a bit. You see Javale Glenn. He is quite a talented batter. We've seen some explosiveness from him before in the past here in the South. One innings in particular stands out to me at Church Street Park a few years back when he was playing for the Fort Lauderdale Lions, and he took Mila Alfonso to task. Now final over of a game where they needed 20-odd to win to score a century on the day. He's quite a talented batter. I was very excited to see him on the team. I feel like he's actually grown in interest since I've seen him.
And so this is where the game can really just turn, because there are those cracks, those little variations on the surface. 2 leg spinners, each with overs in hand. And a team like the Lightning, who are nearly halfway through their batting lineup. Again, extra bounce.
Well, now you have those dots piling up to the new batter. This is where the pressure really builds on. It's built in when you walk in the middle overs after a wicket has fallen, especially so early in the over. You still have 2 balls to go in this over. against Sahib.
Straight to the man. Malhotra has his second in the over.
You saw Javel holding up a little bit on his timing, and he was already kind of through it when he threw his hands at it. It was going to be softly hit to the fielder. There was no mistake made. Huge over for Sahib Malhotra. Starts with the 4 in the over. Now he's got 2 wickets. What a comeback.
Glenn got a big piece of this. It just kept turning away from him. And Malhotra thought initially that it was going to go all the way, but he literally had picked out the fielder in the deep. Didn't have to move a single inch, and he took it right at head height.
Yeah, just the timing was a little bit off there. You could see he was already opening up, and he had to reach with the hands. If you get that sequence wrong, it takes a lot of power off the ball. So we'll have one more ball to go in this over. As we see the next batsman walking in, it looks like Mark Parchment.
And it's a different role for Parchment. Typically, he's someone who comes in much higher in the order, really at 3 or 4, pushed all the way down to 7. Just tells you the depth of this order. But again, his natural game is to be aggressive through the V. Right now, it's not about being aggressive, and I'm not sure this pitch is going to allow you to be aggressive. Nate, to me, I think the calculation that needs to happen here is to play 20 overs, and if you climb to 120, I think you are so far in this game.
100%. That start that the USA batsman had given this Atlanta Lightning team, very valuable. Now, at the other end, we have Sai Mukamala. As long as he's in the middle, you could expect runs.
2 slips in place. What an over for Sahib Malhotra. Gives up a 4 on the very first delivery, but after that, just gives up 1 run for 2 wickets. It's 81 for 5.
Just tremendous stuff. The game really flipped there. After the 10 over mark, we mentioned that he would have been happy with 76 for 3. Losing 2 wickets now, it's a good thing they've got a deep batting team. Mark Parchment coming in this late is just, as you said, it just demonstrates how deep this batting is. Mark Parchment, to me, is kind of like Mr. Atlanta Lightning. Been around with the squad for a while.
And you think about the batting to come still. Shamar Springer hasn't walked out. Soeb Tai hasn't walked out. Soeb Tai's opened the batting for the Lightning in minor league cricket in years past. So those two are genuine bats. And then you talk about an Emil Ponzo, who is a much better bat nowadays. Jesse Singh still to come.
My goodness. What a minor league Jesse Singh had this season with the bat in particular. Striking at 170 plus there in the East Division during the regular season. Averaging over 20 with the bat.
The googly immediately to Parchment. Again, they're going to try to test Parchment's patience and how his resolve in just sticking around.
We're halfway through Sarjid Lada's overs here. A lot of loves taking wickets. He's always searching for wickets. He's going to be anxious right now until...
Just short of first slip. A genuine outside edge. And like you said, hunting for wickets.
Hunting indeed.
Some pressure now. The last 7, make it 8 deliveries have gone for just 2 runs, and we've seen 2 wickets transpire in it.
You see a lot of flighting that one all the way up to the moon.
has his man. Change of pace, change of length, and Lada strikes.
Enormous wicket. That is something we don't see an awful lot from Lada, him going flat like that. He did it following a ball that he bowled awfully high out of the hand. So high even Christopher Van Tol had to look up. Follows it with a very flat one. And it's right into the hands.
Huge wicket of Sai Mukamala. 6 down of the Lightning. And that incredible start seemingly going up in smoke.
We've had 3 wickets fall in the last 2 runs. This is not what you want if you're Atlanta Lightning. You can see that flat delivery, flat and short, but it turned so much. Looks like Ty coming into the middle now.
It makes sense that you send Ty. Well, Shamar Springer obviously has the more experience behind him. Ty is more made for this situation, tends to have this gear to just stabilize and keep himself in the middle.
You still have 8 overs to go after this one. You want to get there. You want to get all the way through. You don't want to leave balls on the table here. As you said, you want to go the full 20. If they go the full 20, you got to bet that they'll get to 125 or so from here. But you got to get there first. Lada waiting for the 4th ball of his 3rd over to take a wicket. A little bit unusual.
Nicely played from Ty. Read the pace early and immediate runs. And has matched the output of the last 9 deliveries with that 1 stroke.
Tying his shoes here. But the tube keeps him on strike against Lada. So Lada will use whatever he's just done to set up the very next ball. He's typically very good at that.
Field is very much compressed on the offside. Everyone in the deep on the onside apart from the short mid wicket. What an over. Just 3 runs and the big wicket of Sai Mukamala. It's 84 for 6.
I'm thinking back to when I said that it's tough to pick out the score on this when Mononk is in there because he's been in such good form. And score him any surface. Well, he's been out now, and we've seen a lot of wickets fall since.
Yeah, it really does put into perspective how difficult it will be to score here. When you had Mukamala and Patel, Smith, and Mononk batting early, you thought things look easy, even with the couple of tricky conditions. You didn't feel like it was that difficult, but with the spin coming in, it's really thrown a wrench in the plans, and that would be a lesson for so many of the teams that are going to come to Field 5 and play. Remember, we have a whole week of cricket today, tomorrow, then you go into Thursday, talk about Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday are your playoff days, Sunday final.
Absolutely, and we saw 7 overs of fast bowling to start this game. After these middle overs, you got to think Atlanta Lightning's looking at the conditions. They're watching how things are behaving. We know Emilio Ponzo can take the ball in the power play. I'm curious about how they'll attack the second innings, the Atlanta Lightning bowling attack.
Well, change of bowling here for Khulle, Sher. Aditya Patel, the young under 21. Not a great start, but just a dot ball. This is the over to attack. While Patel is a very good bowler, he's not the leg spinning duo of Sahib Malhotra and Sarjid Lada.
Absolutely the over to attack. In this, you force the Atlanta Lightning to decide, hey, are we going to try to score a bunch of runs right here after we just lost 3 wickets in the last 2 overs and we only managed a few runs out of it? 8 runs in that same span.
Patel, not the paciest individual, but has good skills. His accuracy will need to be spot on. It's going to give time for both Parchment and Soaptai to set themselves up.
We have a couple batters in the middle here who aren't going to waste mistakes. They're not going to waste Adi's mistakes.
Fielder in place. Just goes over it all the way for 6 runs.
You see they're too short on it. Parchment, as I mentioned, did not waste that one. Very well struck. I think the only suspense there was because the fielder couldn't go back any further because of the rope.
Yeah, it looked really interesting as soon as it came off the bat because of the fact that Parchment rolled the wrists over it and just clears. Big boundary that. Chops it on, and Ali Patel strikes back brilliantly.
What a job here by the youngster. Tremendous. What a comeback. After the 6, you love to see it. If you're this Khulle Sher team, absolutely sensational stuff. Parchment has to turn around right away.
We talked about it, not the paciest of individuals, Patel, but when he's accurate, he can bowl a couple of different variations, and that one just a touch slower, and then back around off stump, and with the variation of bounce as well, it can always create problems. And what a big moment. You can see what it meant to that young man to pick up his first wicket of this tournament.
Yeah, big moment.
Right there, you see it there, chopping it on, and look at the celebration. Straight away, fist bump and scream, and he deserves it. New man in, well, someone who carries a lot of experience and flair of his own. Shamar Springer has played in minor league cricket, yes, but since we last saw him in minor league cricket, he's gone on to do bigger and better things out in the CPL, and then coming out and joining that West Indies squad as well, making his debut.
Yeah, very cool. Shamar Springer is an exceptional talent. You see that maroon helmet. Tells you all you need to know about how good he is.
Gonna have to re-bowl that. He made his debut, Shamar Springer, for the West Indies back in 2024, a year ago. Basically almost to the date of when he was part of the West Indies squad. And he also has made some List A matches, but his CPL numbers have been stuff of real success, both with the Tridents, but more so with the Falcons. What an over this is turning out to be, though, from Adi Patel.
Brilliant over. Just the one mistake that was punished for 6. He followed it up with a brilliant ball immediately afterwards. And we said you want to play the full 20 here. You had a great start. That start's going a long way for this team right now. It is going to be a task to ask the Lightning to go another 7 overs at this rate.
Adi Patel only gives up 7 runs in his first and takes the big wicket of Mark Parchment. 91 for 7.
Let's take a look at these partnerships, Aman. That second wicket partnership between Manoj Patel and Smith Patel, 40 runs. That was really big, especially now as the run rate slows, as the wickets fall. That was the moment right there. That was the biggest part of the innings. Mark Dayal, Sai Mukamala put together 20, but it's been slim pickings from there.
Yeah, no question. And that's the real difference, is the lack of partnerships since Sai Mukamala's wicket. You just need one big one. I think one more big one would be great. And can allow you to, it can get yourself to 120 and beyond. And you do feel that maybe the time is now because you have hitters still to come. Emilio Alfonso, Jesse Singh can pile the runs on towards the back end of an innings. But you just need one partnership to last really until that 18th over. But think about this, Nate. Shamar Springer came in at number 9. Again, it just goes back to that ridiculous amount of batting depth. Yes, Shamar Springer's made his international name and his CPL name because of what he does with the ball. Remember, it took 12 wickets in just 8 matches back in that 2024 edition of the CPL. But here in the States, he is a prolific all-rounder.
Absolutely prolific. And it goes to show, they were trying to save him as late as they could. They want to get him to a finishing position. So him coming down at this position, I think he would have come in after 15 no matter what.
And is now forced in before that 15th over. And again, the great news for the Lightning is that even number 11 can hold the bat. We've seen Emilio Alfonso really improve in that regard, really since the inception of Major League. And knowing that as a left-arm spinner, he's got to be able to provide.
100%. We have seen Amila be able to hit cleanly, pile on some runs right there at the end.
Just short of that long off-fielder. Again, boundary's not so important here, but more so just continuously turning over strike.
Yeah, 100%. You want to turn over strike here at this ground. Get a single every ball. You have to feel happy with that right now. It will be exceptional, in fact.
Amandeep Singh has got the ball in for Khulle and adding to the spin department for this team. And again, giving the youngsters good opportunities to just flex their muscle a bit. Amandeep, another one of the under 21s. Excellent rotation of strike so far for the Lightning.
Hey, you love to see this. You love to see all the under 21s in these rosters. Khulle have a few to choose from. Adi Patel, Amandeep Singh, Johnny Gotra, Simranjit Singh.
What do you think the Khulle are happy with in terms of a total to chase?
Well, I think you said, I agree with you that if you get 120, I think it's very defendable with this Atlanta Lightning bowling attack. I think Khulle really want to get them out somewhere around the 110 mark.
All the way. This is Shamar Springer.
If you bowl a ball that takes the mystery of the turn out of the equation to Shamar Springer, he is going to unload on it, and he has absolutely done that. He gets to the pitch of this very, very well. It's right there in his wheelhouse, isn't it?
Yeah, just gave him that bit of width, that bit of length as well. They likes nice and full. And once it cracked off the bat, there was no question that Gunrajit Singh was going to be out of the picture. Really exceptional from Springer. And this is, again, why you talked about how they would have been saving him for post the 15th over, because he can play shots like that with relative ease. And it's now prompted the Khulle to rethink the bowlers that they've used. It won't be Adi Patel again. They're going to go back to Sahib Malhotra, and it makes sense. Try to ponder off some wickets here.
It's his ability to zip it in, I think. It makes him the man for the task right here. He has a nice range of pace that he can deliver this ball.
So Tai intentionally gets over top of it. You can see instead of looking to lift, as some people have gotten out, that short delivery, he says, no, we're swatting it down almost tennis style.
He zipped it in pretty good, did Sahib. But you're right. Tai went up on the tiptoes there.
This is where you want to attack Shamar Springer, that in-between length, and forcing him to poke and prod. Not the cleanest of techniques, but he's a very clean striker. When does that quicker one come in from Malhotra? He's gone 2 with relative flight.
I like the way that Shamar Springer looks at the other end to see if they're going to run for the run. Reminds me a bit of a Steven Taylor, the way he does it.
You can see Springer isn't one to get bogged down. He, like you said, is looking to always get off strike, but right there was looking to try to take advantage of the field set with both third and point inside the ring. What an over, Brewing. One delivery left, and we've only seen the one run come from over 15.
Well, Sahib has been absolutely sensational today. 3 wickets there, just 13 runs, and it's because of the variety he brings.
2 runs from over 15 with a leg spinner bowling. That is absolutely brilliant. 104 for 7.
You will exhale here a little bit still if you're the Lightning to survive that without loss. That was a dangerous sequence there from Sahib. We've seen him strike already 3 times.
$100 on the board for the Lightning, and like you said, that wicket call might just be more important because you have 2 wickets left. You have the batters in the dugout that can succeed, but you don't want them out here this early, and knowing you have to go to another over of Lada, you've got to be able to see those overs out, knowing there's a wicket maybe coming there.
Oh, you see Shamar Springer out there standing next to Christopher Van Tol, and the 2 of these guys are pretty tall. Look at him standing next to Van Tol. You get an idea of just how tall Shamar Springer is, and with that height comes great reach, which is a handy thing to have against Sarjid Lada.
Changing the field, long on, just get pushed around, as well as a cow corner fielder in place. Deep backward square, and just leave a cover along with a long off. No slips, knowing that Shamar will look to go big. Great adjustment from Lada as well, looking to be much quicker through the air. Lada has played a season of Major League, was really hit out of Major League Cricket, but it's his pace through the air that's been his biggest hold-up in terms of getting maybe to that next level.
He's quite good when the conditions are such that he can rely on flight and turn. He's almost unstoppable in those conditions.
And you can see very much defensive here are the Atlanta Lightning. And it makes sense, given the fact that pace on the ball found runs early. You still have the over of Abdullah Ghazi. Zaid Alam's got a couple that they're going to have to utilize alongside Abdullah Mir. Innovation at its very best from Sorabtai.
We had to wait a while for this one. It was tossed up from Lada after a couple of flatter deliveries. You knew it was coming. But Tai this time goes over everybody. That was all he had to do with the field set the way that it was. That is a valuable 4 boundary for the Atlanta Lightning.
Yeah, huge, again, in context of the game, because we have been theorizing, as it is just match 1 here in the Atlanta Open on this surface, that if you get to 120 with that bowling attack, you might very well be in the game for the Lightning.
So softly played there. So Ty under control with that shot the entire time. Just enough to get to the other end. And Shamar Springer, with 2 balls left, comes on strike against Lada. And we'll see how he attacks here if he goes quicker again.
Well bowled yet again from Sarjid Lada. Tossed up, but utilized the turn.
Springer did not hold back on that. He was completely through the shot.
Exceptional spell from Sarjid Lada. Just the 1 wicket, but economical. 22 runs he gave up. It's 110 for 7.
So just 4 overs to go. And we talked about how important it was for a partnership to be built here. This isn't the longest partnership you'll see for sure, but it's been quite good these last 2-3 overs.
Yeah, no question about it. And now it's about, okay, we've lasted against these spinners. Now there's pace on the ball. Can we take advantage with pace on? Again, Abdul Amir, he's going to bowl 2 more. You're going to have Ghazi bowl 1. And then that means you might have to go back to a Zayed Alam to give you an over or 2. Shamar loves pace. Ty is able to manipulate the ball nicely. I think this could be a real game changer, and the 110 foundation can prove to be very, very fruitful.
Yeah, I think this over is really important. Big over here for Lightning sets them up very, very well. A wicket here for Khulle Sher brings the game back under their control.
Well bowled from Amir. Again, I don't expect him to really go Yorker length here because I think the risk is too high with this surface behaving the way it is, Nate. I think the good length area is your most effective region.
Oh, absolutely. I think so. It brings into a lot of things into question and puts a lot of questions into the batter's head. We've seen the ball coming up from that length quite well.
That one's rushed through. Van Tol almost just had to get out of the way.
That one came through quite quick. Almost picked up speed off the wicket, and they're going to give it a wide.
Interestingly enough, they gave that a wide. Yeah, I didn't think initially it would be given, but Amir definitely frustrated by it. The bounce on offer, Nate, is just ridiculous.
And that's exactly what we were talking about at that length. For the ball to come up like that, it is not comfortable.
And now here's your question. Shamar Springer, again, loves pace on the ball and has such a great ability to hit big shots. Gone! Exceptionally well done by Van Tol.
Well done by Van Tol. We've seen the ball rush onto him quickly high. That one dipped quite a bit off of the bat.
Springer almost just was caught in 2 minds, whether to try to play it down or just run it. And that extra pace of Amir seemingly undoes him. Have another look. Just got on him very quickly. And Van Tol does a great job. Takes it really by his shins.
We see it coming off of the bat. I believe it went off the bat, then off of Springer, and then so it kind of changed direction 2 times for Van Tol, who was brilliant actually at taking that. It's staying with the delivery, especially because at his height, with those long legs that he has, being able to get down quickly after the change in direction. We've been very impressed with Van Tol all summer. In fact, quite good with the gloves. A lot of fun to watch.
And it brings out Jesse Singh, who features with the ball mainly. But like you mentioned earlier, his batting this minor league season, ridiculous strike rate of 170, and was relied upon so much more during the year for the Stallions.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. To see him batting in this position is an absolute luxury. But to me, it's coming in at this phase in the game. This is Jesse Singh's phase.
But Abdul Amir has really shown great understanding and maybe showing Jesse Singh what needs to happen on this surface. I'm curious to see how you go about scoring off the fast bowling off this length.
Quite difficult. Quite difficult. It definitely puts you in a defensive mindset. I think you could take advantage of the space you have out there if you're in that mindset.
There's a deep point in place. The first time he doesn't go to a good length, he gets punished, and Jesse Singh goes the distance.
Jesse knew he might not get many of these. He's got to capitalize on this one, and this is what Jesse's done all summer. Overpitch it to Jesse Singh. He will make you pay. Put it right in his wheelhouse.
God, his batting's been a revelation. Remember, we talk about the third seamer for the USA and that they have to be able to bat. Jesse Singh has for a long time been that third seamer, but the batting is just now starting to follow.
We've certainly always shown flashes of it. That'll end the 17th over. The Lightning just one away from 120, 119 for 8. Aman, this has been quite an interesting innings. Some ebbs and flows here.
But I do feel the Lightning are in a decent spot. And if they bat through 20 overs, 130 to 140 is on the cards. And that's a hefty target to go get. I think if you're Khulle Sher, you have to bowl out this Lightning team in the next over or two.
Absolutely. Or you have to at least take a wicket here for either of these guys. Makes you pay for it. I think Jesse Singh really showed a lot of composure there. Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get there at that good length. And for him to lock on to a ball he knew he could pummel and actually pummel it just goes to show how zoned in he is at the moment.
Interesting change here from Captain Prince Singh. He has seen the pace and says, okay, I don't want to go back there. I want to get sub Sahib Malhotra at over in 18 to close out his day. What do you make of the move?
You know, I like it. I like bringing Sahib in here in the 19th instead of leaving him for the 20th. At the same time, I think this preserves the other end for the fast bowlers. We saw Jesse hit a 6 in the last over for sure, but that was an overpitched ball. You stick to that good length, I think, or we might see the wider Yorkers or whatever. But it keeps that in play, that good length delivery and play for the final over.
Yeah, over 18 here, so 20 will have to come back. We'll be curious to see if it is going to be a spinner from this end. But I do think the Pacers on a length, as long as you can trust them to bowl there, are going to be beneficial. But Malhotra's last. Excellent start.
And also, we saw some good stuff from Lada from this end. Sahib might have said, "Hey, I want to go from that side for once."
That's what we saw happen to Sai Mukamala a couple times. Again, set up for that real half tracker, but it seemingly is the best ball to bowl on this wicket.
It's working quite well for Sahib anyhow, as he's getting very good bounce from it. I think when you do bowl that shorter length here, I don't think you want to overspin it too much.
The big thing here was that this was plan B because we saw Christopher Patel have to call for a helmet. So I think that Prince had initially said, okay, we'll all seam to close out this day, but he's done a little adjustment. I think those are the little differences that set teams apart when you're able to make those in-game adjustments and kind of ad lib with your initial plan. For the Lightning, I don't mind the approach here of just trying to tuck it into mid-wicket for one and get out of the over 122 on the board, and you have 3 overs of not leg spin to see.
Yeah, I like that. You do have 2 overs of batting after this. After this one, 121 for 8.
And even Jesse Singh, whether he's trying to go big or just milk ones, can't do anything with that length. And you said it off the get-go, but the second innings and this wicket is going to be so intriguing.
Yeah, it really is. We've seen now 5 overs of leg spin from this end.
Turn past the edge, and Malhotra's day. 3 for 16 in his 4. It's 121 for 8.
Come on, what a beautiful day we have here. We got a nice little cool breeze whipping through right now. The sun kind of hiding behind the clouds. Very comfortable. This is probably something you might set your air conditioner to inside your own house. I don't know if there are many better places to be right now.
Yeah, very blessed with the weather. There were people thinking that there might just be some rain in the forecast. It's kind of pushed away. It stayed a little cloudy, but the sun poking through, like you've mentioned. Where would you rather be than in Rydal, Georgia, for this Atlanta Open? It's brilliant that it's come really off the back of minor league cricket. Just keeps that same little flow going and that same rhythm. All these players coming off of their own domestic season.
It's a big part of the calendar, this event. And the quality and the class is here in spades. Everywhere you look. It's just a who's who of cricket in the USA.
Well, this will be Abdul Amir's last. Interesting enough, he went slower, fuller there. To Jesse Singh, the one time that he was hit by him, he went all the way full. So what length does he choose to operate on?
I think that good length.
I'll be curious to see if it's pace up or if he elects to go with a couple slower deliveries as well. Yeah, like we said, change of pace, but it's beaten Van Tol. Not going to the rope, but Jesse Singh will come back for 2 off the buys. Valuable runs, Nate.
Very, very valuable runs. It's, you said it, you get to that 120, you got to back yourself to defend that. Now we're getting north of that, into the 130, potentially 140 range right now, but a single delivery can change everything, and a single boundary can change everything as well. This is a very interesting over here.
Singh was ready to go. And I think if you're Jesse Singh, it's the boundaries is great, fair enough, but just keep getting your singles. You get to 130 and you're well ahead of the mate.
I think that's a pretty good length to bowl. Had it been more full, Jesse might have done some damage on you. If you've got Jesse trying to do that at that length and not able to. I think it's a really good thing. I wonder if they go back to that again.
Wow, Jesse Singh says, doesn't matter the length, the result will be the same.
Well, this one's shorter. Jesse just cranks it over mid-wicket. Absolute moonshot. This is what we've seen from Jesse all summer for the New Jersey Stallions team. I gave Sai Mukamala a lot of credit for them being able to go deep and win every game, that New Jersey Stallions side. Now Jesse Singh is doing what he does, what he did for them. He's doing that for the Atlanta Lightning here in the Atlanta Open, and that is finish at the end once they get there.
Around the corner, in the gap, and all the way. 4 more, Jesse Singh.
Very valuable runs. Huge runs for the Lightning. You're putting up a total right here after that collapse to start the second half of these innings.
Wow, and we were talking about getting to 120, 130. 140 is seemingly on the cards now with a new bowler having to be introduced. Where do you go for that last over, Nate? Do you go back to Abdullah Ghazi?
Yeah, I think that's probably where you have to go. But we're approaching a score that you would have thought they would get to after 76 for 3 after 10.
Wow, Jesse Singh. 3 in a row.
Oh, he's just class today. He is just absolute class, pouncing on every opportunity. And there's a humongous over here. 17 off of it.
138 for 8, an over to go. And not only 140 available, 150. And that feels like a mammoth score.
Yeah, after 10, they were 76 for 3, but they lost a lot of wickets quickly. They went from 76 for 3 after 10 to 91 for 7 after 13. And we started talking about them batting the full 20, getting to somewhere around 120, thinking, hey, they'll be happy if they can make it to there now after the loss of 4 wickets in 3 overs. But they have righted the ship. We saw a couple of decent partnerships since then.
And it will be Abdullah Ghazi with the ball. And Sohaib Tai might just sit there and say, all right, I'll play 1 ball, get off strike, and let Jesse Singh do the business.
Well, you may as well. You've done a great job if you're Sohaib Tai to recollect the innings. As you mentioned, he's played very smart.
Over to you, Jesse Singh. He's already leaped to 22 off 13 and will seemingly want 5 balls to further that strike rate.
He's done his damage from the other end, Jesse has. He'll try it from the north end of the ground now.
Straight as an arrow and all the way.
Jesse Singh, what a job in this role.
I just think the length is all wrong, Nate. I don't understand why you're trying to go full on this surface.
I don't get it, but we did see him punish slightly short delivery. And in the last over, I think Jesse Singh is just locked in right now. I think you definitely want to try something other than over pitching it to him.
Well, change of angle. Ghazi's going to come around the wicket. He's put in place a deep third. And it feels almost like a wide Yorker type of strategy, or at least the ball is going to be pushed across to Jesse Singh as a short third and a backward point are in place. Not quite timed as well. And quick enough is Sohaib Tai? No. Well done by Ryan Scott, the sub fielder.
I think the big thing here is So Ty knew that Jesse Singh has to be on strike. You'll take that, I think, at this point. 3 balls to go. Jesse Singh is the guy you want there on strike. And it'll pay off if he can get a boundary here. I think you'll have to agree that paid off. You got Amila Aponzo, the captain of this side, coming out to the middle now. He can do a little bit of this as well.
And now the question is, you can't really just run twos willy-nilly. You only have the 1 wicket in hand. So you have to be very clinical about when you do elect to come back for 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would be surprised to see Jesse pass on a single on this next ball. But he won't be thinking single. I think it's prudent here. Bowling across him like this. Maybe try to hit that wide Yorker, as you mentioned. Maybe something slower.
Scott again in play. This could be the end of the innings. Needed a better throw. It wasn't Scott this time. It was Gunwarjeet.
Yeah, the throw just took him wide. Just took Ghazi wide of the stumps. And that'll keep Jesse Singh on strike with 2 important runs. 148 for 9, Amon.
Huge. 150 definitely on. And again, you run him out there, the inning ends. So the fielders have to be very much accurate with their throwing. You saw Gunwarjeet Singh at the end of that saying that was meant to go to the keeper's end, which it wasn't a bad shout either. Could have been close. Third man gives chase and will lose that race. 4 more for Jesse Singh.
I just can't get over how good this innings is from Jesse Singh right now as he moves to 35 from 17, and we've crossed 150, 152 for 9. Well, that 9 doesn't matter anymore because you're on your final ball of the innings. You put up a huge total on this particular wicket thanks to that great start once again. First 10 overs went quite well. But Jesse Singh is delivering on that setup, on that foundation.
Final ball of the 20th over. And just the 1. They should run it out. And Scott makes the right throw. And Van Tull. Simple. But the innings does what it needs to. Jesse Singh, 36 from 18. 153 runs to the name for the Atlanta Lightning in an unbelievable 20 overs we just witnessed.
Incredible. Incredible. Peaks and valleys throughout. This Lightning team just shows how deep their batting is. You're going to have your hands full with this squad for the rest of the week. Let me say, you got Jesse Singh batting at number 10 on this team, and he just put up 36 from 18. What a job.
You look at that batting card there. It was an early start from Patel, 28 off 14, and a little collapse in the middle. And then at the end, Jesse Singh's 35 off 17 proves to be the difference, moving the total to 153. With the ball, Nate, didn't think it was poor from Khulle, but there were some things left to be desired.
Yeah, Ghazi ended up going expensive there thanks to the big over at the end. Abdullah Amir as well. Sahib Malhotra, how good was he? They would have loved to give more overs to him, but he ran out with 16 wickets to his name and 16 runs to his name and 3 wickets. Sarjid Lada, his usual self, 22 runs and a wicket.
Well, the first innings comes to a close there as the Atlanta Lightning put on a mammoth 153. The roller is out because when we return, it'll be 20 overs set for Khulle to chase down a grand total of 154 in their opening game in the Atlanta Open 2025.
And welcome back here to the Paramveers Cricket Grounds. Beautiful day, and we're about to start the second innings here. As Khulle Sher come out to the crease. They got a big task ahead of them, Amon, chasing 154.
No question about it. And this is a tricky, tricky wicket and a bowling attack that features some of the best in the business. And so it'll be a lot to ask of Khulle Sher, but they're not going to want to fall very early in this Atlanta Open, trying to get to those playoffs and final. As you see the two openers, Prince Singh, the captain, and Gunwarjit Singh. And the opening bowler for the Atlanta Lightning is their bowling substitute, Carmine LaRue.
Carmine quite good. Lots of skill. Bang. First ball. Prince backs away from that. Climbs up pretty well.
Yeah, Carmine, incredibly quick as well. He played minor league cricket for the East Bay Blazers. Also has represented a major league franchise in the San Francisco Unicorns. And the one thing about him is that he extracts plenty of bounce. So on this surface that features that good length as a tricky area, it'll present a unique challenge.
Up in the air and caught. And that's an early strike for Carmine LaRue and this Atlanta Lightning side.
Talked about that extra bit of bounce available, and that's what undid Prince Singh there. It just came into an awkward area up on his hip, and you're just trying to maneuver it onside, high on the bat face, and Jesse Singh maneuvered to his right quite nicely. And you see them talking right there. What are the best lengths? What are the areas that are going to provide bounce? And Carmine's found it, and he struck immediately.
Yeah, early strike there. Makes this an even bigger task. 154 was already a lot to ask of this Khulle Sher's side. My goodness. Second ball of the innings. And a wicket before a run is on the board.
Huge breakthrough early, and it put so much pressure back onto Khulle Sher. Again, that total of 150 odd is already a mammoth total as it is. On this surface, it will feel nearly impossible and require so much batting.
We have Christopher Van Tol making his way to the middle to join Gunwarjit Singh. Van Tol has really kind of had a breakthrough season with the bat, in my opinion, in the South in minor league cricket, where he always looked like he was knocking on the door of a half century, finally converted one. And the thing about Van Tol is when he locks on a bowler that he likes, he really makes him pay. He's got tremendous reach. We'll see him put that to good use once we get into the spinners.
Van Tol typically is a big fan of the balls full. Don't expect much of that with Carmine LaRue bowling. Expect him to continuously be back on a length. But with that, if you're Van Tol, you sit there and look at the field set. No one in the deep on the offside in this power play. Just the deep third.
See that uncomfortable bounce there. Just fended off by Christopher Van Tol to get off strike to bring Gunwarjit, the lefty, onto strike. And how good has Gunwarjit Singh been this summer?
He's been brilliant this summer, and his Church Street Park outings have been exactly what you needed them to be. Big half centuries. And then in Major League Cricket, had to buy his time, had to wait, and then scores 40 odd, and then gets to be in the final. So here's a guy who's accustomed to waiting around, just taking advantage of the opportunity when it gets presented to him.
His number's quite good, but he really does pass the eye test with flying colors. Made his way into a major league team last season into that MI New York squad after a huge innings at Church Street Park. But scouts love the way he looks, just the way that he bats. watching him bat, I think that's what earns him his accolades.
You just, like you said, watch the way he bats, and he never is rushed for time. You feel like he's got enough time to deal with any pace in the world, and he doesn't feel like he lacks options. But he also is very mature about his innings. And right now, you'll see him take a touch more of a cautious approach because of the mystery on this surface. But if it's there to hit, expect him to go after you. He just has this masterful ability to decide.
How it climbs. Makunwarjeet will escape. And that's the end of the over with just one off of it. Dangerous stuff from Carmine Leroux to start.
Hey, you look at that final delivery, and again, we talk about the demons in this wicket. There's a demon in full form. There's going to be extra bounce, and there's two pitch seamers on this lineup that are going to extract it. Not just Carmine Leroux, but Jesse Singh is going to have his say. When Shamar Springer has the ball, there's another man that's going to extract some surreal bounce, and the task won't get easy because there are the spinners that can bowl here.
We'll see Jesse Singh bowling from the south end, USA fast bowler. And we just saw Carmine. A lot of people think Carmine deserves a shot in that USA squad. So we might be looking at a preview of something to come here as the two of these bowl together, Carmine and Jesse. I wouldn't be surprised to see it in USA colors at some point.
Yeah, no question. Carmine Leroux has been a name on so many fans of USA cricket for a long time. Just presents such a unique challenge from the left side. Pace unlike you've really seen. Bounce that's so different. When we think of our left arm seamer, Saurabh is the best in the business, but it's a whole different ball game with Carmine.
Jesse just continuing where he left off at minor league. So good. Looks like sometimes he looks like he adds an extra yard of pace.
The ball just kind of flies through recently for Jesse Singh. Again, there are periods where he felt, is he starting to lose some of that extra oomph that made him special and made him hang around that USA squad for a long time. And so far this minor league and even into today after ball one, you can see that he's just running nicely and he's finishing through the crease, and there's those extra yards of pace available.
He does like to take a pretty good long run up here, Jesse does. I remember talking to him probably about 2018 or so. Before the advent of minor league cricket, a lot of these guys did a lot of their training indoors. And he talked about the challenges of him getting in good rhythm indoors. If you'll remember, he used to struggle quite a bit with extras for USA. He's really reeled that in over the years.
Yeah, the no ball issue, right? He would just be a consistent overstepper. And it was something that hindered his career because you're just not able to give him the ball in big moments because you're unsure if he's going to give up runs and give up free hits.
Well, he's doing it less and less and less, which is what you like to see. But minor league cricket has benefited a lot of people, these opens on these surfaces. This ground here, Param Veers, what a great development it's been over the last few years. The more turf we have around the country, and the more of these opens and minor league cricket that we have to pit the best against the best, you see how it sharpens them, especially Jesse Singh. We've seen him improve so much over the years. He was already good. He was already class.
And that's where you think minor league has been really beneficial, and these opens have been really beneficial. Not only is it helping the folks who are on the outside looking in, but you can see dramatic improvement to those who are already in the team. I don't think Jesse Singh is this good without minor league cricket. I don't think Sai Mukamala is becoming the T20 batter that we have come to know without minor league cricket and the responsibility he has consistently taken for those New Jersey Stallions. Even Monank Patel, to a degree, who hasn't played a lot of minor league cricket. You think about Smit Patel and Milind Kumars of the world. Minor league cricket has really impacted their careers.
And you see the best of the best here at this Atlanta Open. Very best performers. It's really, I mean, we'll see all these guys in minor league cricket, but you're seeing Jesse Singh bat at number 5 in minor league cricket.
Mhm.
You're seeing him bat number 10 on this team today. That's how insanely deep this Atlanta Lightning team is. So you really, really are seeing the best of the best in this tournament. For my money, the best thing going in the USA right now at this particular moment in time. It gets through. And that'll end the over for Jesse Singh. Very quiet one for this Khulle Sher team. End of 2. 3 with that loss. Or 3 with the loss of 1. You see they're going back to adjust the score there on the score bug. Get that right back up to speed in no time at all. It was dot, wicket, 1, dot, dot, dot in the first over. They're putting that up there right now. Make sure the scorecard is as accurate as possible. A lot riding on it in these tournaments. Carmi with the ball again.
And curious to see when Gunwarjeet and Van Tol elect to start to get a move on, because you're in the power play and we haven't really seen the real big shot come out. Yes, yet. Now the bowling has been quite phenomenal, but the lack of intent is mind-boggling in terms of T20 cricket. Given the surface, you understand it, but limited overs to play with here for these two.
Off the edge. Just going to be the 1. Yeah, after the first 2 overs and a little bit of action happened in the middle there. After those first 2 overs in the first innings, yes, there was an early wicket also for Atlanta Lightning in the second ball of the second over. 10 for 1 after 2. We got 3 for 1 after 2 here. And following the singles, that makes it 4. So, yeah, it's been a slow start, but it was the third over that the Lightning really got going. They scored 11 off of it, and then they were flying from there. 11, 9, 10, 13. So let's see if that happens again here for Khulle Sher.
Exceptional from LaRue. You would have seen that intent change with Gunwarjeet Singh, with that single, the way he was looking to play it. Van Tol has already shown a couple of desires to flash his hands outside the off stump, so it does feel like it's time to strike, and things could change very quickly here if LaRue can break through.
Short. Going to give it as one of the bouncers. But it's not going to be a wide.
It just springs out of nowhere on you either. When you talk about a good bouncer and the change of that pace, you don't want to be able to see it early. You want it to be disguised and look like any other delivery. And out of the hand, you don't feel like it's anything different, and then it just zips. And that's what sets Carmi LaRue apart.
Another short one. They've given a no ball here.
Yeah, the last one was given the warning, 1 for the over. And LaRue tried to go back to that length. Might have just shot up a touch. But Van Tol, here's your moment. You've been waiting on your opportunity to cash in and waiting for a license to be given to you. Well, here it is in full display, a free hit.
This could have been a mistake here for Carmi if this gets Christopher Van Tol in the innings. We're going to have a wide in one of the most entertaining ways possible.
So many tricks up his sleeve, Carmi LaRue. He's gone pace, 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 and Van Tol was probably even more shocked to see it get just slowed down and nearly spun all the way around. But have to re-bowl it. Some extras costing the Lightning.
Up and over. Will it run away? It's kept in. Just the 2 runs.
Yeah, good work on the rope. Another slower one from LaRue. And he'll have one legal delivery left in the over. Now he's set up Van Tol. A lot of short stuff. Hanging on the back foot. Wouldn't be surprised now to see Carmike go full. Try to go into that Yorker block hole.
Uncomfortable there for Christopher Van Tol. A little bit more bounce than he thought there would be after 3 overs. Khulle Sher, 8 for 1. You got to get a move on things.
It's tough to do that. It's easy to say it, but we don't have Carmine LaRue bowling at us, Nate, and going after our body. That's not fun. That's gone straight onto the arm. And the Khulle Sher would know, hey, we're behind on the runs, but where do you score them? Who do you score them off? Again, so maybe you're thinking, okay, you get through Carmine and you get through Jesse, and then you deal more with your Soeb Ties and your Shamar Springers. Are you happy to go after those folk? But Amila Ponzo, is that a name you really feel comfortable taking on?
Yeah, it's a dangerous team. It's a very dangerous team with bat and ball. This Lightning squad, and even on the bench, they have some big names. Akilish Bodagum, not in the team today.
Former major leaguer Akil Posa, a really good young seamer that could get a look at some point during the week.
Well, now we have a lot of bounce on this end as well. Jesse looking pretty expressed today.
It's coming on quick onto Kunrajit Singh. That's typically a shot that is very instinctive, and he plays so naturally well. Whenever you see him set himself up to fire his hips, you expect that ball to be bludgeoned to the boundary. But again, these wickets have just played a couple extra tricks, and that's why those runs off the bat of Jesse Singh at the end are so vital.
Well, we saw 7 overs of fast bowling to start the first innings. There's no reason to change anything. Up! This is gone. This is a no-doubter onto the other field. What a shot from Kunwarjit Singh.
Just said it, that once he fires his hips, the ball stays hit. And this one just sat up. The last one zipped through, but you'll see as this one's come up to Kunwarjit Singh, it's just set up a touch. Didn't have the same fire behind it, and Kunwarjit Singh is too good to miss out.
That's a length. You absolutely have to take that on in the power play here. If he misses that, it's over, everyone. If he mishits it. But he absolutely punishes this.
Manang Patel has just signaled to Jesse Singh, and it might just be to keep it wider of Kunwarjit, get it to swing away. Not the captain, Manang Patel, but so much experience captaining the USA. Or maybe it was to change the angle. He's coming over the wicket again, Jesse.
And as we see so often from Kunwarjit Singh, no reason to get greedy. Just the 6 and then get off strike. Hand it off to Christopher Van Tol. 3 balls to go in the over. And Jesse's going to deal with the righty now.
And to me, I think this is the matchup you want if you're the Atlanta Lightning, because Van Tol is going to look to go. He would, again, see that scoreboard. He would see the 6 at the other end, and he would sit there and say, I've just faced all the heat and music of Carmine LaRue. I've got to get my lick back. But you look at Jesse Singh and the way he's bowled. He's been nice and tight on off stump, and that's typically where Van Tol provides weakness.
Over the top. Great effort there by Springer in the field, who lives up to his surname.
He's a lightning rod. Whether it's bat, ball, or in the field, I've seen him take some absolute spectacular one-handed catches, and that is a one-handed save for the ages. It felt predetermined that it was going to be 4 runs. And again, a last-second hand. And also talk about the fact that he got back to the ball before any other fielder could get there. So, brilliant. Saves 2 runs.
Very well stopped by Shamar Springer. Looked easy. Looked so easy for him. Just sprung right over and stopped it. this one gets through. Jesse is beside himself.
But you can, again, see that Van Tol is trying to go through the gears. He's trying to push.
Final ball in the over here. Full over the top. 4 runs. Flash of the bat there from Christopher Van Tol.
Overpitched and punished from Jesse Singh. That's far too easy. When the wicket's this helpful, you cannot be in the half volley area. And for Christopher Van Tol, he times the ball so beautifully through that offside. Again, right where he would have wanted it. Just hanging back deep in his crease. And says, thank you very much. Picks it up all the way. 4 runs, and here's your fight back from Khulle Sher.
Yeah, Khulle Sher now putting it into the next gear. They were 8 runs with a loss of 1 after 3. Now they're 21 runs. Very good over. That's exactly what they needed to do. It's no small accomplishment scoring 13 off of Jesse Singh in the power play, considering he's just gone for the one against him in the leg by in his first over. It looks like Shamar Springer's going to take the ball. Climbs up there. Springer, we're going to see him extract some serious bounce, I think, at this height. How cool is this, Amon?
Shamar Springer, it's great to see him back in action. Again, hasn't been a part of minor league in the last couple editions, but he's an absolute lightning rod. Already in the field, he's shown it, and with the ball, you talk about tall, fast bowlers coming in with great pace and bounce. Yeah, Carmine LaRue, who's handing the ball over now, is one of them, but Springer, in a very similar vein, just from the right-hand side.
Short, pulled away, right at the boundary rider.
Good little period this for Khulle Sher. If they can just maneuver the singles around in the last couple of overs of this power play, get themselves anywhere 30 to 40 at the close of the power play, I think they'd fancy themselves in a good spot with just the 1 wicket down.
Absolutely. They'll try to stave off that little collapse that plagued the Lightning in the middle overs. They're going to have to do that against some good bowling here from the Lightning in the phase.
You can see Van Tol, he's moving very early. He's looking to go through his gears, and Springer went to the slower ball, but expect more movement from Van Tol. He pushed himself outside the off stump there, trying to set himself up to go to cover. Vacant regions in front of square on either side of the ground.
And he'll just run this down to third for the easy single. Kunwarjeet on strike.
I wonder if Shamar is going to try to get Kunwarjeet to play that same stroke he hit Jesse Singh for, and see if he can just climb on to Kunwarjeet and create a top edge. There's a short third fielder inside the ring. You reckon if there's a short third, you're going to pull your length back? It's a risky delivery, that. There's a backward square leg fielder, yes, but that feels more like it would have been a top edge, and that's flying away for 4. Might just be better off bringing in that deep point fielder and pushing back a wide third, just to give yourself an extra bit of protection for that bounce that flies.
Yeah, the deep point, deep square. And that one comes up awkwardly. And that's the end. That wraps up the 5th over. 23, loss of 1. Only 2 conceded there from Shamar Springer. That was a quick, speedy over.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, Shamar, and I think when you're not giving up runs and you can just go out there, bowl your length, be accurate, it gets you through your overs. And now you want to talk about quick overs. This is where the Lightning can just churn it out. Amila, Alonso, Soeb Tai, those would be the spinners you think you'd see the most of. And Amila's going to take the last over the power play. Nate, you think that's a good decision to not go back to another seamer, and maybe a third for Jesse Singh?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've seen Amila in the power play quite often, so it doesn't seem like a stretch by any means to me. I think save Jesse at this point after he just went for 13, save him for later.
Long off and deep mid wicket for Amila in this power play. You mentioned it. He bowls so often in these situations. He's did it for the Fire in minor league cricket for years. He's on the Lightning now, and he's captaining the side here in the Open. Dangerous looking shot there. Even if Van Tol connects, I think that's gone straight into the hands of first slip.
Yeah, he's got to be happy that he didn't get any bout on that at all.
Just away. And we'll go all the way for 4. No, it won't. It just held up. 2 runs for Van Tol, and his heart would have been in his mouth for a long time.
Well, past the outstretched diving hands in the covers there. Yeah, it just held up a little bit. You can see Christopher reaching for this last one.
Again, plenty of turn off a length from this end. We saw it in the first innings, seeing it again here in the second innings. Van Tol has made up his mind, though, and the intent is very clear.
Yeah, the intent is there, and also how quickly did Shamar Springer get to that ball?
No slip for Kunarjit Singh. And the field is going to be packed on the onside in the deep mid wicket and long on. Short third, fine leg, backward square. Mid wicket is a vacant area, so asking Kunarjit to turn it over. Intent. So much intent, Nate.
Took a mighty hoik at that. Intent indeed. I think everybody was lucky on that one.
No fielder there. It'll be 4 runs, or maybe just holds up. Yeah, it's a lush outfield. And so far, you haven't been really rewarded for the shots on the ground.
Well, it is a well-trimmed outfield, that's for sure. But this grass here in Atlanta is quite thick and it's quite dense. Very soft and carpety.
No need for an outfield. That one's out of here.
What a way to end this over here for Kunarjit Singh. Humongous 6, 11 off the over. Really, really big.
You spot the width there. Kunarjit Singh said thank you. Just outside the off stump, and that's where his bread is buttered. We see it at Church Street Park pretty much on a weekly basis during minor league cricket. Seeing it now down here at the Buttonveers Cricket Complex. 34 for 1 to close a 6. Nate, we felt that was probably ideal position for them to be in.
Yeah, I think anything after that first wicket on the second ball of the innings, and then we saw some slowness in the first 2 overs. You can see right there, you got the towers stacked up next to each other. This Khulle Sher side scored big in the 4th and the 6th. We saw steady scoring from 3 through 6 from the Atlanta Lightning before it teetered down a little bit in the middle overs, especially those wickets falling from overs 9 through 13. Well, Springer's going to take the ball again. He just conceded 2 last over.
Yeah, and again, his biggest strength is the extra bounce that he gets, Shamar. Again, from a very high arm angle, very tall man. This would be a great challenge for Van Tol, who seemingly is wanting to just almost play everything off the bounce. So can he ride it nicely? Like we said, trying to ride that bounce. It's given one for the over. Shamar Springer's unhappy, and I think he might actually be lucky that it's just the one for the over, not a wide or any extras.
Well, from our vantage point, that crossed Van Tool quite high. Maybe over him all completely.
Could be the second one. It's given wide, and so that would be the no ball. No? Oh, maybe it's just. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Given the no ball, again, you get one bouncer for the over. And had it been for line, it could have been wide, but it was given wide for height initially. And so that means it's going to be a second no ball. And that's what you can see the explanation to Amila is. They're saying that crossed him above the head, captain. And they're going to have to give it a second free hit to Van Tol.
Well, let's see if he's as entertaining with the free hit as he was last time, throwing one hand all the way out to try to reach that wide delivery. He went to one hand on that last one as well.
Amila took us shy. Van Tol was not paying attention. Would have been run out. And I don't think Van Tol even still knows that he was gone.
Van Tol's been entertaining today.
Mila's such a good fielder. he saw the little bit of a opportunity, and maybe more out of frustration, but definite chance.
Yeah, and obviously there, Van Tol not out because it was the no ball. It was a free hit. You can't get caught out on that.
Gunarjit Singh been more than happy to just keep the scoreboard moving. He's gone out to run a ball, and is exactly what's required for Khulle Sher at this point. Have someone to hold a partnership together. We talked about the Lightning when they're so fruitful, when you had Monak Patel, Smith Patel in that big partnership. That's what Khulle Sher need here early on in their innings.
No question about it.
Hubble yet again from Shamar. I would just be wondering if there's a thought to go very full to Van Tol, who's hanging on the back foot.
And maybe try to tempt him to take a whack at it.
Maybe not even that. Just see if you can catch him late, getting the bat down. Tried. And they will get one off of it. Close with 7, 38 for 1. Nate, at this point, 38 for 1 after 7. Do you feel Khulle Sher are in a position that they would have taken coming into the innings?
I think so, especially 2 balls into the innings when they lost the wicket there early to Carmi. I think you have to think about it like, okay, we're not going to go out in this power play and get 60 runs without a whole lot of loss. And they managed to go through it, 34 with a loss of 1. I think you can take that. It's something to build on. It's a foundation. We know the longer the Kunwarjeet's out there, the easier it gets for him.
Suebtai has the ball now. So Melaponzo just looking to continuously give new challenges to the Khulle Sher side. It is the off spinner. Attacking off stump straight away against Van Tol.
Yeah, I mentioned Van Tol's reach. How many times have we seen this summer him put that to use against spinners?
Excellently played. That's Christopher Van Tol at his very best.
There you go. Goes with the delivery as well. Doesn't force anything across the line. Whacks this really, really cleanly.
You talked about his reach, taking advantage of length, and he forces spinners to bowl short, just given his incredible reach.
Yeah, he really does. Especially when he's going with the delivery like he did there. If you see him coming across the line a lot, then maybe you'll take another chance at it, giving him the same ball.
Hold him! Soeb Thai gets through Kunwarjeet, and the Lightning have their second.
Well, this is where if the Lightning, you take advantage of that cautionary start. You could take wickets while they're trying to be careful, while they're not focusing on scoring quickly. It puts them in a deeper hole. What a delivery by Soeb Thai, and that is a big wicket. Kunwarjeet Singh has been tremendous this summer. You don't want him sitting there getting his eye in more and more and more as the innings goes on.
And this brilliant work in the field as well. They had just maneuvered mid-wicket away, trying to get him to turn his wrists, and he just played all around it. And that's where, again, as a captain, you can really affect the game. You set a great field, you put a plan in place, and what does the A-team say? They love it when a plan comes together. 45 for 2, and Agni Chopra walks in, another major leaguer.
The only 22-year-old who knows about the A-team, I think. Come on.
It's a great movie. I pity the fools who don't know about the A-team, Nate.
There you go.
Like that one?
I remember when that show was on, I actually had the little black van when I was a kid. The little black van with the stripes on the side.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful van.
There was also a movie, if I'm not mistaken.
There was a
I think
movie.
that's the thing I've seen.
That's what you saw. Okay, that makes sense. You saw like the nostalgia exploitation
Yes.
film.
Describing a lot of films.
Yeah, basically that whole 2000s period.
Talking about films, Agni Chopra striding into the middle. Well known that his father was a producer on Three Idiots.
Here he is right there, and he's being introduced by us two idiots.
And there you go. And he's had a brilliant minor league season here in his first kind of domestic season in the States. His strike rate was surreal, and he came in with a high regard and trying to bring it now down to Atlanta. And immediate runs for him. Wouldn't mind playing some spin here, Agni Chopra. Played a lot of domestic cricket in India. Talk about that Ranji average, 94.
Exactly. 94 average in the Ranji Trophy. That's astronomical. And I've made this joke a few times, Amon, but all he has to do is have his average innings here, and this team is going to win.
What an over from Soeb Thai, responding nicely and getting Kunwarjeet Singh, 47 for 2.
Dean Chopra so good in the field too, quick, aggressive in the field, really gives his all. Just a pleasant person too. I've had a couple conversations with him, really enjoyed him.
Well, we saw Manu Patel signal to Amila after the wicket to bring himself on from the north end of the ground. Now, the reason he's saying that is more for the left-hander, actually. Because there's such a left-right combination, the ball will turn back in. The bigger pocket for the left-hander, the cow corner, is batting to the north end. So this is a matchup for Agni, but he'll have his first look at Van Tol. Needed a slip. Maybe the one time Emil Alonso isn't operating with a slip fielder.
Yeah, Miller went expensive for him. 13 on his first over. Or actually 12 or 11.
And you see the field, again, it's set up into that leg side. So bigger pocket, fielders push there, and they're going to dare Agni Chopra to hit him through that region. Smith Patel wanting that cover fielder just to come more around and be a touch straighter.
Well, this Khulle Sher team hasn't really put together 2 good overs in a row with the bat. Every time they score, they follow it with like a 2 or 3 run over. That's not going to do it right now.
In the gap. Exceptionally well played.
Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot from Agni Chopra. And we have seen some class stuff from him this summer. Stayed on top of that really, really well. Struck it so firmly. It got to the boundary so fast. He can make the ground look so small sometimes when he's hitting the ball.
In the air. Should be taken. And is comfortably in the end. Chopra gets in and gets out.
Well, there's a big wicket for Atlanta Lightning, and they make this even harder for the Khulle Shers. And this is kind of becoming a mountain for them. As I said, they can't seem to put together back-to-back good overs. Well taken in the field. But they're coming off of a 9-run over. And they've just lost a wicket. And we'll see who's going to make their way to the middle for this Khulle Sher's side.
Yeah, it looks like Ravinder Singh is going to come out to bat for Khulle Sher now. There are these subs that are available, and I think Ravinder Singh classifies as a sub for them in this category. We'll confirm that for you. And yeah, I believe he does. Ravinder Singh classify as a sub, so that's why he's on with the bat. Didn't see him a lot this minor league season, Nate. Rather surprised.
Surprising, but that team was so impossibly deep. We've always seen Ravinder Singh in the Baltimore Royals team over the years. A key member of the squad. Last season, he suffered with some injury issues. This season, the team was just so unbelievably deep, especially at the left-handed batting position. They just were spoiled for choice.
He's a tremendous accumulator, Ravinder is, and expect him to be going after the singles. He's not quite the Ahad Malik, maybe of the Baltimore Royals we saw a couple years ago, but when he gets in, it's hard to keep him out.
Yeah, unlike Malak, he's not in a hurry to run himself out. Ravinder Singh, I think he's the man for the job right now.
Vantola's been out there for quite some time. 28th delivery he's played as the score moves to 54 for 3 at the close of the 9th.
And Vantola's innings right now is very important. Yes, he's been out there for 28 balls, only scored 24, but if it was all to get him into form to attack on the backstretch, then it'll all have been worth it. He's going to have to convert, though. I think you got to think at this point.
It's been very mature, though, from Vantol. He's picked his spots nicely. He's taken advantage of the couple of opportunities off free hits. And this is where you can really tempt him because you're going to have the off spinner bowling. Van Tol didn't look comfortable against Ty, but is this a chance to take the big wicket? Up and over, but just the one. So the lefty back on and matchup that the Lightning would have wanted.
Absolutely. You look at this Khulle Sher team. We talked about the depth of the Atlanta Lightning, but look at the names not in the squad. You got Romario King not in the 11, and you have Ryan Scott, who I got to tell you, Ryan Scott has a high strike rate no matter where he is. We've seen him on those difficult wickets in the East still put up huge scores.
Ravinder Singh, he's someone who, from the left, would be trying to fill that similar role of Ryan Scott, if you would have to imagine. Surprised to not see Ryan Scott. Maybe he comes in as one of the batting subs.
Yeah, maybe. Typically opening.
Pressure mounting. 3 consecutive dot balls now to Ravinder Singh.
So Ty has been such a big member of this squad.
Confirmation, finger goes up, and Ty has his second.
And the hole just keeps getting deeper for Khulle Sher. Soeb Ty, always in the middle of everything here for this Atlanta Lightning team. He's just been so good for them, so timely.
Yeah, you saw the appeal straight away. Never really even looking for confirmation as Ravinder Singh. He came in as a batting sub for Sarjid Lada, and he goes out thanks to a spinner who's just spun all around him. Straight away knew it. And the Lightning, they have their 4th, and they're well ahead of this game as Zayd Alam walks into the middle.
Yeah, how crucial was that start that the Lightning got in the first innings, and then Jesse Singh finishing it off at the end. Just seen so many contributions today from the USA team members. So Ty has been, as I said, such a crucial part of this Atlanta Lightning squad in minor league. He can do something with the bat. He can do something with the ball. One of those true all-rounders.
Zayd Alam feels as if he is a true all-rounder in his own right. Would come into bat as early as number 3 for the Royals last season, and you talk to him after, he says, "Oh no, I'm a bat. I bat just as well as anyone else on this team does." Eventful, to say the least. Shamar, Smith, Patel, and Alam survives. 55 for 4 to close at 10. It would have been bad if I was just talking up how Alam considers himself a bat, and then first ball he goes. That would have really been the epitome of a commentator's curse name.
Instead, we got the pin drop quiet appeal from Shamar Springer. But there's a look at the worm chart, Amon.
The wickets have just been what's staggered it. And what's disappointing is those wickets have come as the worm was starting to tick forward. It was starting to really rise and ascend to find that blue line. But those wickets, whilst it didn't really hinder the run rate for the Lightning, are really starting to affect it for the Khulle Sher.
Yeah, we see a plateau there between overs 9 and 10, thanks to the 1-run wicket over from Soeb Ty.
2 slips now. No chances being taken. Oh, what's happened there? That felt much closer to backward point than initially fielded.
Yeah, when we're seeing Van Tol, they moved one of the slips over.
Playing with hard hands, for sure. Van Tol is. This time keeps it down. And if you're going to keep one slip fielder, it might as well be Shamar Springer. With his frame and his wingspan, he covers up the entire cordon. Fielder in place. Fielder in place. And executes in the end. Van Tol stay in the crease. Comes to a close. And the Lightning, they have one hand on victory.
1 foot in the door. Van Tol got a lot of difficult deliveries to deal with today and survived them all until this one, where he just didn't hit it cleanly enough. It was quite interesting to see them start the over with 2 slips against Van Tol, who had been in there for quite some time.
57 for 5 in the 11th as Sahib Malhotra walks out. And Nate, we actually were on the drive down, and you said to me, "Oh, have you seen this Lightning roster?"
Oh yeah, we were talking about all the teams. To such a degree where it's a blur who's who, but the Lightning roster really stood out in my mind. The Fire roster as well.
Clarion Eagles, obviously the defending champions.
Obviously the defending champs.
Seattle Thunderbolts look quite aggressive and strong. We talk about the Raiders Unlimited, a unique name, not a name you hear around often, but
usually those Raiders are limited. These ones are not. They're not tethered to anything.
Well, when you got Unmukchand, Heath Richards, Abhishek Paradkar, Cornet Dry and company, you might not be tethered to much. 2 slips are back. And this will be a challenge for Malhotra, who is more naturally aggressive, likes to play big. And Aponzo's not going to give him the time nor the license to try it. What's the formula to get back here for Khulle, Nate?
You have to rotate strike. You got to get off strike. You can't let the spinners have too many looks at you in succession. You have to keep the scoreboard ticking and get to those final 5.
Final ball, the over, goes for another dot. Close of 11, 57 for 5. Nate, remarkably, just 2 runs from Aponzo's third.
Yeah, tough goings right now for Khulle Sher. Now, from at the end of the 8th over, they were 47 with a loss of 2, having just lost a wicket that over. And we've gone now 18 balls with 3 wickets have fallen and only 10 runs have been put up in that span over the last 3 overs. This is where we kind of saw things grind to a slow in the first innings, but it was overs 11, 12, 13. Here it's been overs 9, 10, 11 so far.
And Zaid Alam, if there's ever a time to prove your all-rounding exploits, here it is. Put your hand up and get your team back in this game.
Ty bowling so well with the 2 wickets. Only 10 conceded.
Ty the lone shouter. But you can't blame him. As a bowler, you've got to take every opportunity to appeal.
Well, you have to advocate for yourself sometimes.
And he would have seen Sarjid Lada be bowling in the send and said, he doesn't. I can get away with it sometimes.
Well, the spinners in the South are very good self-advocates. Lada, as you mentioned, he is the gold standard.
Much to the umpire's dismay at times. How is that evaded the stumps? It hasn't turned much. It's just all angle from a wider release point. And now there's a leg slip. Shamar Springer. He's just in every fielding position imaginable.
Well, I think he can cover from leg slip to second slip with his speed and length.
Do you feel as if Khulle would just try to finish the innings out? Just try to get to 20? Do you think it's beneficial for him?
Well, I mean, it is early in the tournament.
Terrific.
Well, taking that attitude right now is prudent. I think you don't want to force anything right now. You're not going to win the game right at this particular point. You got to rotate strike while you're going through trying to get to 20. Try to get yourself to 15 without losing any more, and then maybe reconvene.
There's a fielder there who does an exceptional job making that look so casual and easy.
What a grab there at the boundary. The fielder came in a hair initially and then bolted over and caught it, leaning back a little bit, but there's plenty of space at the rope there for that catch.
Climbed the ladder quite nicely in the end, too. Just made sure that he was well in. 3 steps and then jump land. Yeah, I'm Mark Parchment. I do this every day of the week. No big deal. Malhotra goes, and the 6th wicket falls.
And that's 6 wickets, and they've only managed the 1 on the over. Ty still has an over to go. He's only conceded 10. The leg by means he didn't get charged with the 1 in the over, but 58 for 6 I'm on. This is a really tricky place.
Plenty of cricket going along, or plenty of cricket going alongside this game. And you look at what's happening on one of the other fields where the defending champs, Clarion Eagles, are back in business. They actually set a total of 172 by the Central Cardinals, thanks to a Tarun Adada 43, alongside a Chaitanya Bishnoi 43. But Mukhtar Ahmed has got 50 of his own off just 32 opening the batting. You look at other matches going along. Raiders Unlimited only managed 130. And the Thunderbolts, they are starting to eye their way in. 98 for 5, needing 33 from the final 3.4 overs. So, plenty of action here at Bottom Veers.
Yeah, that's impressive stuff. What a game. You mentioned Tarun Adada really came into his own this minor league cricket season. Mukhtar Ahmed putting up a good total. He has been in a bit of a slump. Wow.
Try playing that. I don't think there's any way you can describe how you're meant to play that. You just have to be thankful it didn't catch a piece of your glove. Abdullah Ghazi is the man of the non-strikers, and watching Zaid Alam trying to deal with Amila Alfonso's last. Wow, exceptional. That'll break some of the shackles.
Yeah, beautiful. When you were asking the question, are you just going to try to play 20? I don't know if you go to a reverse sweep very often when you're just trying to go to 20. But very well played.
It was in the air, and for a moment I thought backward point would have been in real position, but he's maneuvered that well enough, well placed. And that's caused slip to go away. Only one slip now as Manik Patel fills a more round short third. Well left in the 13th, Nate. Don't see it too often.
But you can't blame him. You can't really blame him here.
That one has somehow ended up at first slip. He's gone to play the conventional sweep, and it's just spun its way to first slip. Close of over 13, 62 for 6.
Atlanta Fire were 91 with a loss of 7, if you think back to this phase. And we were talking about them batting the full 20.
Yeah.
Now you've got 62 for 6 at the same phase. Boy, did Atlanta Fire pile on the runs from there. 62 runs on the next 2 wickets for them across those next 7 overs. Well, Sher is going to have to do something even more impressive.
They don't have the batting prowess out there in the middle that you would think they could do it, but don't count them out. Abdullah Ghazi now. it's about doing more of this. At least getting ones. You gotta eliminate the 2 over, the 2-run, 3-run over.
Oh, 100%. You have to rotate strike.
Still the leg slip in place for Ty, so expecting some turn back in. Very fortunate that Zaid Alam's body caught a piece. Otherwise, Smith Patel would have sent those bales over back to North Carolina.
Yeah, those quick hands would have really been on display if that got through. It turned right into his body.
Ty's eyeing himself a 4th wicket. Viper on the cards, and it would make the discussion for player of the match very difficult. It might actually seal it into his favor.
Yeah, it might make it easy for him, as he did a little bit with the bat there, too. It played a big role in getting Jesse on strike. But what a performance he's put together with the ball today.
And real statement early on from the Atlanta Lightning. Again, they were disappointed they didn't make the minor league playoffs, and coming in with some extra chip on their shoulder.
Extra chip on the shoulder and extra few big names in the squad.
The impressive part today was not all of them fired. Yes, you had Manik Patel put on the runs he did, Smith Patel early on in that partnership, and Sai Mukamala, but look at the rest of that order. Didn't really find all that many runs. There's been the names that you have come to associate with the Lightning that were fruitful with the ball as well, as the 14th over comes to a close, 65 for 6. And it's important for the Lightning that both their pacers and their spinners are bowling well, because seemingly there are more runs to be had on other surfaces. They'll play a touch differently here at Button Veers. And if they can utilize pace bowling when it's required, spin bowling when in other situations, you have to be a well-rounded team to win this Atlanta Open.
You surely do. You have to be a very deep team. And Atlanta Lightning squad, every time the wicket went down, you just saw another big name coming into the middle over and over and over again until you get Jesse Singh coming in at number 10. And if Jesse Singh is coming in at number 10 for you, you're in. If Jesse Singh is coming in at number 10 for USA Cricket, you're in good shape.
And if you can just say, yeah, we've had enough of Emilio Alfonso, we can't really go back to the captain, he's bowled all 4, let's just give it to Shamar Springer instead, see what he can do. You're in a pretty great position as well.
Why not give it to the international?
Just 6 runs he's conceded in his first 2 overs. Couple of no balls in there. He's hunting for a wicket in this Atlanta Open. They're going to try for 2. And exceptional running from Abdullah Ghazi in the end.
Yeah, good running. You need more of this. You needed more of this earlier. We're in the 15th over now. I think it was about 5 overs ago where I said that they needed to rotate strike, dig themselves out of this hole. Since the 9th over, they've only managed to score 13 runs.
High and handsome from Abdullah Ghazi.
Holy smokes. And that one almost could be 13 runs by itself, but you can only get 6 off of 1 ball. What a shot.
Tremendous. And you just see him there signal for the score. He wants to know what's required. What do I need to do? You're going to have to go at almost 15 and over from this point.
Do that 9 more times. That's what's required.
At the very least, you got to facilitate that with singles around. You've got 8 for the over already. No need to force it here. Find your 1 single.
Yeah,
Get off strike.
Yeah, keep yourself alive. Keep yourself there.
Again, go at 15 is a rather ridiculous ask. Very consistently. But you're headed towards those last 5 overs, so at least you got to get yourself to 12. Calls for 2. All right, Zaid. Show your all-rounding ability here. We've talked like it's a foregone conclusion that the Lightning are going to win this, and they would be the overwhelming favorites at this point, but something special could just happen.
Yeah, a big over could put the game in doubt. And 2 of them in a row could really help.
What is that hit? It's not given wide, and Alm's frustrated. That felt to be a noise on the way through for sure. Thought it was the pad that had brushed, but you can see Zaid Alami's incredibly frustrated by this.
Must have been the pad there. Ooh.
Nasty. Really nasty. Gonna want to get him a little look. Zaid Alam to close over 13, 74 for 6. Good to see him on his feet.
Yeah, good to see him on his feet, and good to see 9 runs on the over from Khulle Sher. Oof. Oh, that is not fun.
Yeah, don't ever want to get hit in the helmet, and anytime you get towards the side, you're really risking where the protection is, isn't it? Because you get past that ear, and it's all open down there. So thankfully, Alam is okay. Going to be able to continue.
Yeah, your best protection is going to be with your face forward. A lot of times we see guys turn their head away. That exposes that top of the neck, just below the ear, the mastoid area, which is very dangerous.
Mark Dayal is going to be given the ball here. And why not? You have someone with CPL experience, bowling and batting. Let's get him some overs in. Let's get him going. Especially as you know, Abdullah Ghazi shown and made his intents very clear.
Pulled behind square. One bounce is going to skip over the rope. Big shot for Abdullah Ghazi. 4 runs.
Well, we've seen the spinners that end up short actually have been rewarded because of the amount of turn and degree of wait time that's forced onto the batters. But with the ball turning back in, Ghazi already knew and was set into position and then just waited on it. And you can see very intentional with where he placed it. Brilliant start to the over.
This one he backs away, tries to push it to the offside. It's going to get through.
Much quicker that time for Mark Dayal, not giving Ghazi the time to set himself up and maneuver. And I don't expect Dayal to go much slower than that the rest of the way.
Yeah, you said it. He speeds it up there. I'll just rotate strike. Hand it over to Zaid.
You get 5 from 3 balls, but Alam's here has got to find a boundary.
And a late cut shot there is going to split the field and run away. It's not going to make it all the way there, though. It's just going to be 2.
Well, that's the danger with bowling with that much pace as wide as Dayal's looking to bowl. You open yourself up to being run down. Now, again, very fortunate the grass is a touch lush, touch soft, but that's far too easy. Put the stumps back into place. That's where Ty was so effective. That's where Melapanza was great as well.
Here you go. Now they're rotating strike a bit. And you finally have 2 overs with a few runs on the board consecutively, but it's getting really late here as the required run rate is going up with every ball that isn't a boundary. There's an appeal. Finger goes up. Dayal's got his man.
Ghazi's unhappy with it. But I reckon there's not a lot of turn. It's being darted in, and it's just whether or not that foot was in line as he kind of backed up and tried to cover all of his stumps. In the end, you talked about trying to get 2 consecutive overs where you're scoring runs. You scored some runs, but you're losing wickets too. Here's another look. This would be a great angle of it. Again, slightly off center, but you just look where Ghazi stood as Zaid walks right in front, but he moves all the way across. And again, he thought it was headed down leg, but you can see the leg stump still not accessed. So, would have been close. The umpire's got the best view, and he's given it out 82 for 7, close to 16.
And now I think, Amon, you turn your sights to batting the full 20 completely. It's a massive ask with 4 overs left. To ask for 18 off of each one, and only 3 wickets in hand.
And task won't get easy because Carmine LaRue's got the ball, and he was special early, wasn't he? With the amount of pace he displayed, the bounce that he was able to utilize. Almost maybe a bit surprised to see him come back now with the game pretty much done and dusted. With someone who, knock on wood, the injury history of Carmine LaRue, maybe just rest him up and keep him for what's set to be a pretty long weekend.
Yeah, I think you're right. What a job he's done so far. Just over the top of it there, Zaid.
Yeah, wasn't looking to put himself into a position where he's bowling a lot of seam here. Carmine LaRue, he's going to take a bunch of pace off and go and execute those little nuances that he's developed over the years.
So good. He's so good. He's so quick. He'll flip this up off of his hip, and it's going to go over the rope. 4 runs for Zaid.
Nicely played. Just a touch of the wrong line, a touch too straight. And Alam's able just to lift it over fine leg. Important for, again, the Khulle team to at least get to 20 overs, score as many runs as you can. You never know how net run rate is going to affect and impact your future in this tournament.
Yeah, I think you want to get to at least about 110 or so. Close to 120 for that reason. Now in shorter, Zaid waits on it.
Yeah, wait a very long time for it to get there. You can see he was through the shot before the ball ever got to him. And again, these are the skills we talked about with Carmine LaRue. Yes, early on he can go seam up, pace, and rockets. But in the back end, he presents these interesting little challenges with the cutters and slower deliveries.
Bold. Carmine just too good for Zaid right now on this wicket. It gets through. Carmine collects his second wicket of the innings. And now the task of batting the whole 20s is even in question.
Was never accustomed to the pace and the changes of pace that were being presented by Carmine LaRue. Rolled his fingers over it, early through the shot again, and just chops it back on. He spent a lot of time in the middle, but again, just never looked or felt comfortable. It's 86 for 8, Nate. Like you mentioned, getting to that 20 over mark is going to be so challenging, and even making it a victory or a loss that's less than 50 runs at this point seemingly is going to be a challenge.
You know, you haven't even really gone 40 runs in the last 10 overs, really. As Sher have really struggled with this wicket and with this bowling attack. Carmine still has 2 balls to go. 10 runs for 2 wickets for Carmine so far. It's going to sail over everybody. One of those hefty top edges that gets over everyone for 4 runs.
Yeah, often surprised to see how wide Shamar Springer was just thought, given the fact that if you go seam up, it's going to fly away. Shamar's got great reach, and you have to be very intentional to play it pretty square down to third. Why not keep him straighter? Amir, though, 400 strike rate for him.
And this one's full. Full toss. He gets away with it as Amir was very active with his feet. That will wrap up the over 8 from it, but the huge wicket. And 90 with a loss of 8 after 17.
Yeah, I think that you could go one seam, one spinner consistently here if you wanted to. If you're the Atlanta Lightning and Jesse Singh could bowl the next over number 19 and finish off with Dial. I think that's probably what they're going to do to save their seam bowlers, give them a little bit of rest, but keep them just in the right touch of nick. I think there's always that conversation that you have two premium seamers who have had, let's face it, their fair share of injuries. Jesse Singh has been dealing with a couple of niggles, and Carmine LaRue, when you look at his major league career, has almost been stymied by it. So you want to make sure that you got these guys the entire week and into the weekend.
Yeah, very true. And just as we mentioned, that Khulle Sher will want to take the run rate into consideration for the tournament. So is the Atlanta Lightning. It's not over for them. You probably want to bowl this team out here quickly before it goes to full 20 for the little bit of a boost they could get.
Yeah, but again, I don't think you'll be too worried about the fact of trying. Oh, Smith Patel takes one on the stomach. You're not going to be too worried about the fact that you don't bowl them out or not. Your net run rate is going to have that big boost just because the fact that you're going to win by somewhere between 40 to 50 runs, given what it's looking like right now.
Yeah, sure. You're not going to sacrifice the health of your players just for that. That's for sure. Up in the air. Looks like it's going to land safely. Just directed, but it's going to be thrown in late.
And every run important, again, like we mentioned for Khulle Sher. They're just trying to make sure that it's less than a 50-run defeat at this point. That fighting spirit as well from Abdul Amir. He's not going to want to go down without swinging.
Short delivery. Not enough to get to the fielder.
Again, Amir would be someone who's represented Pakistan at the under-19 level. He's been in the States for a bit, but he's out there with Amandeep Singh.
This one off the hip pad.
Yeah, again, it's been very clinical here for the Lightning, and they're looking to just add those finishing touches.
He's bold. Dayal takes another wicket. We're down to our final one. 13 balls left. You think they can get there?
Tremendous, again, in the field with the sets. They've put up the plan to evade that mid-wicket region. So now hit me into it. Try to go across bat. Try to turn his wrist and play it all around it. Smith Patel's been taking a couple body blows. First on the stomach, now on the shoulder, but won't mind it. It's 94 for 9. And here's young Adi Patel. Took the big wicket of Shamar Springer.
Yeah, just one to go for right now for Atlanta Lightning. Khulle Sher have their work cut out for them just to go the next 13 balls.
And they, again, expect it to be quick on stumps, not giving Patel much time to settle into the middle. Again, the young man more so known what he does with the ball. His batting stats through youth cricket. They leave a bit to be left desired, but he's a promising young talent, like so many of the under-21s that we'll see here in this Atlanta Open 2025.
Gets through. And that'll wrap up over number 18, 94, loss of 9.
Well, Nate, we are not off the hook after either the fall of the next wicket or the next 2 overs. Another game headed our way here at the Putnam Veers Cricket Complex. Actually, a full day of games, so many in store, but we're going to get to see the Raiders Unlimited take on the Atlanta Fire at this very ground. And you talked about that Atlanta Fire team already and how loaded that roster looks. They're coming off a minor league championship, looking to add the Atlanta Open to their belt.
Yeah, loaded and on top of the world right now. The Atlanta Fire, well-deserved minor league championship. Final victors in 2025 after making it all the way there in 2022 and falling just shy to the Seattle Thunderbolts. It really came through on Sunday. This will be an edge that's going to fly behind. Shamar Springer will collect it. They're just going to get the 1. They thought about 2, but thought better about it. Shamar brought it back very quickly before they finished thinking better about it.
And Sai Mukamala is starting to say, look, I'm an all-rounder, fellas. All right, I've done it in minor league cricket now a handful of times. I was a 5th or 6th leading wicket taker on my team. He's bowled at Church Street Park. He's bowled the New York Ovals, and now he's continuing his display down to Putnam Veers. I actually think it bodes well for USA cricket if Mukamala continues to develop his off-spin. Give you another bowling option.
It's a little bit short there, but yeah, Sai has been developing this spin. We've seen him use it a lot, as you said, at Church Street Park. You can always use a handy batter who can bowl a few overs of finger spin for you, especially with the lefty in there now. A lot of chatter on the ground from Atlanta Lightning. Having a good time, I think.
Yeah, high energy. Plenty of good folks, and they'd be on top of the moon given what they've just done.
It's still 57 needed to cross the line. That's not likely to happen, but the Khulle Sher is gonna want to think about the entire tournament ahead, not just this game. They want to get within 50 runs here.
And you look at Raiders Unlimited, who will be featuring just after this game. They just fell to the Seattle Thunderbolts, so they are also looking ahead, needing to win against the Atlanta Fire.
This is edge and quick throw to the keeper, but it's going to sail away from everybody, and it's going to be free runs here for Khulle Shers.
Oh, that's Subhash there, who opened the batting as we close over number 19. I believe it's 99 for 9. It is. He had been sitting a lot as a batting sub, would have set out for most and came in for Monang Patel here, and was just, I think, very eager to get in. That was a throw maybe Achilles Brown would think about, for Major League Cricket, Nate.
Oh, I remember that when he sailed it over the keeper.
I was on call for that, and Natalie Germanos was next to me, and she immediately had her heads
straight. Well played, 6 runs.
And that'll lift your head out of your hands for sure. Abdul Amir is saying, guys, let me bat. Bring me up the order. What are we doing having me batting at number 10? Another boundary to his name, and he again has shown great intent from the word go.
Amir backs away. Going to split the field there. Shamar can't get to this one. Quality shot, 4 runs.
Cross the 100 threshold and keep on adding to it. Final over to the game, and yes, it's an unwinnable match, but it's a chance for Amir to tell his side, we get one more partnership and we are in this ball game.
Yeah, you love to see this from from Amir at the start of the tournament.
Better length and pace from Dayal there as well. Slowed it down, pulled it back. And for someone who's playing as early and as aggressively as Ahmed is, that's probably where you want to live.
Up in the air. Over Shamar's leaping hands. 6 runs.
Hello, Abdul Ahmed. This is brilliant. And again, we talked about trying to get under 50. He's thinking, can I get under 30? He's 2 hits away from doing that.
16 right now on the over. Moves to the... Oh, he's pulled. A little bit too happy with his feet there. And that's the end of the innings. 115 all out with a couple of balls in hand left on the table. But a sensational win from the Atlanta Lightning, winning by 38. It always felt like more than that.
Yeah, the Lightning were in complete control of this matchup with the ball in hand. They never felt like it ebbed and flowed into the favor of Sher rather. They were just kind of stuck thanks to the brilliant opening partnership of Carmine LaRue and Jesse Singh. And yes, you had the late fireworks from Abdul Ahmed, but that was all she wrote. And the Lightning, they've claimed victory here, 36 runs, make it 38 that they've done it by. And we still have a whole nother game underway. It'll be the Atlanta Fire taking on those Raiders Unlimited, who are trying to avoid going 0-2 and really seeing themselves on the back end of the day. So join us when we come back for innings and match number 2.